Secret Lair Super Secret come on. The Secret Lair Secret Scare Super Drop is a lot of S's and is tomorrow, or today if you're watching this, Monday, October 13th. I'm a little behind with this video, but I made some promises that I was going to post it, and I've done all the analysis, so we're going to chat about it. The Demonic Tutor. That's the big story here, and the one that I'm going to be trying to buy. There is a PlayStation drop later in the month. Already have a video on that one. Go check that one out. Analysis on all those. But I do want to talk about the Secret Lair Secret Scare Super Drop before we move on from it. Joel, our Magic is brought to you by Card Conduit, the best place to sell your cards quickly and easily on the internet. TCG Player, the best place to buy them. Dragon Shield, the best way to protect them. And Moxfield, the only place to put your deck lists on the internet. In this one, we have got quite a few drops, the first of which is Kieran Yanner. If I can only pick one foil, this is it. The pack gives you Demonic Tutor in Kieran's art with Northern Paladin, Armageddon, and Lord of the Pit as well. On base print prices, the baseline here sits near $64 non-foil or $146 foil against $30 and $40. The Demonic Tutor, y'all, it's evergreen, and because I see Kieran at conventions, a signed foil of this also is going to add a lot of joy and value. Looking at you, Jank. I am buying 2 foils of this one for 2 foil tutors. That's basically what I'm doing. The other cards being thrown in is going to be sick. I let the other 3 show up as cheap singles, because if you're not interested in the Demonic Tutor and you only want one of the other singles from this layer, do not buy it. The singles from this layer that are not called Demonic Tutor are most likely going to be quite available, because I can't be the only one who's literally just buying this for a foil Demonic Tutor, and I want to. So Jaws is our Universes Beyond Secret Layer in here, and it earns a higher price as a result of that. You get Jaws Relentless Predator, which is mono red. I hate it. Descent into Avernus, which is sick. Reckless Endeavor in its first foil possibility. Sneak Attack and a Braid and a Blood token. The price is 40 non-foil, 50 foil. Wizards noted with this one that a Universes Within version of Jaws is going to be available later, but we're not going to get the WPN distribution of this specific layer, so I'm probably going to pick up a copy of this one in foil as well. The Universes Beyond ones tend to do well over time. The Jaws piece looks cool. I don't like the color identity of the legend, but that card looks sick, and Descent into Avernus is incredibly playable. Base copies of this one, your reprints are totaling about 25 bucks non-foil, and the foil baseline's incomplete because Reckless Endeavor, like I said. This one is a lot like I said with the PlayStation layers in that review, where you're paying a little extra for the IP tax, and you can't expect these Universes Beyond layers to be that one-to-one or good value pickups like you would expect and like you see with something like Kieran Yanner. But Jaws Relentless Predator, typically, especially in foil, these things go up over time because this is the only time to get them. And then we've got Secret Lair, The Office, Dwight's Destiny. This one's weird to me, y'all. This is one of my favorite shows of all time. I'm one of those guys. I love this show. I love Parks and Rec. I could quote every episode of this show. I don't know that I want this. Isn't that strange? I'm not sure who this is for. I get wanting to do an Office layer. I don't get letting it just be Dwight. If there was some issue with the IP rights, I don't know that I would have done this at all. If it was some sort of like, oh, there's a Dwight one and a Michael one and a Jim one, you know what I'm saying? Then it's like a trio of drops, and maybe we could look at something and get creative with them and give an answer to the question, why now? But it just being this one-off Dwight drop in the middle of all of the Universes Beyond controversy, this community response that's happening right now, this one just feels weird. However, I'm still a fan. Dwight Schrute, Hey King, that makes me smile. The rest of the box is kind of mixed. You get Steel Shaper's Gift, Swords to Plowshares, Brawl, Chief of Compliance, Gareth Relentless, and then Reaper King, which is your 5-color Dwight option. So you could, I guess, have another Universes Beyond option. I don't know. That card's not even, it's barely playable. It's just, this drop is so weird to me. Now, using base prices on this one, you're around 43 non-foil and 42 foil versus 30 or 40 for the cost of this one. It's a Universes Beyond one that doesn't have the IP tax, I guess, because they were like, I don't know if people are going to want this. The Swords to Plowshares is very playable. Super Gift is very playable. As a big Office fan, I might grab one of these as a souvenir. But this is going to be a game time decision for me. I'm not sold on this. I don't really love this. This is kind of blatant, and I think it's just because it's a solo drop. I don't know. It's hard for me to review this one because I love the Office, but I've got some kind of resistance, which is kind of strange. But again, I might pick one up as a fan, game time choice. Heliod Sun Crowned is a really good card, and you know, there's playable. It might be fun to be like, hey, look, Dreaming Darkly has 4 cards and a pretty clear plan here. You've got Rune of the Hidden Realm. It's a decent little commander starter pack. You've got some flash value, you've got some card draw value, and it all fits into the same commander, Rune of the Hidden Realm. This art style doesn't speak to me at all, and so I'm fully skipping this one. Plus, I don't want a Rune deck. Like, this one's just easy for me to skip with the deluge of product that is coming out nowadays. I think these are going to look pretty sweet in foil, black and white. White negative space looks really good in foil, and so I would recommend that. If you are drawn to these at all, I would recommend go foil. That's pretty much what I would recommend with all secret layers in general. Base prices here, you're around 20 bucks non-foil or 29 foil, against 30, 40. I like Guardian Project a lot. I really just don't like the look of this one overall. If you really like the art and will play at least the commander, I'd say get this as a commander starter kit if that's what you're after, and have yourself a nice little blinky Bant deck ready to roll. Then we've got the Trick or Treat drop. 5 commanders in costume. It's a great gag. The art looks pretty cool. I'm just not into it. It's not mine gonna get my purchase. There's too many products nowadays. You get the Vito, you get the Saboru, Voja, you get Wilhelt, and you get Liberator, Urza's Battlethopter. On base prices, baseline sits around 22 non-foil and 30 foil, against 30 and 40. If you already run the Life Drain deck, or the Ninjutsu deck, or the Wolves deck, or the Zombies deck, or a Flash Artifacts deck, these are cute upgrades, really solid commanders. You'll get to look at them the whole time because they are your commander. I really think that's notable for secret layer purchases like this, is like, I give more precedent to permanence, stuff that's going to sit on my battlefield and I'll get to enjoy it. Instants and sorceries are great, but commanders in particular, I'm like, that's what I want to see in a secret layer, baby. And so if you are already playing any of these and you like this cute Halloween aesthetic, like, home run for you, right? I'd recommend getting them in foil as always. But honestly, if you're just looking for the secret layer super secret. Believe it or not, PlayStation just crashed into Magic the Gathering, and Wizards wants $40 for non-foil, $50 for foil, 7 times over. It all goes live October 27th at 9 a.m. Pacific, and here's the truth about IP-driven secret layers like this. You are paying a premium for some mechanically unique cards and the coat of varnish on the reprints. That's the IP tax. You're paying that $10 extra for the mechanically unique and the IP, and because of that, I'll just warn you, these types of secret layers very rarely clear their asking price on raw card value alone. Hey, I'm Joel. I've been playing Magic for over 20 years, and it's my job to keep you informed and ahead on your most expensive hobby. Subscribe if that sounds like info you want. If you're buying a secret layer like this, it's not because you're getting more than it's worth. It's because you actually want these cards and plan to play them. For collectors or fans of the games, the experience of owning them is part of their value. And for everybody else, you just need to know going in that these aren't necessarily designed to be slam dunk easy plays, but it is going to be the only spot you can get these mechanically unique cards in this specific IP series. Magic is brought to you by Card Conduit, the best place to sell your cards quickly and easily on the internet. TCG Player, the best place to buy them. Dragon Shield, the best way to protect them. And Moxfield, the only place to get your deck lists on the internet. God of War Greek leaves a little to be desired for me. It's not just that Kratos can get killed by a lightning bolt. You're trying to kill Zeus and you can't take a lightning bolt, Kratos? Come on. This drop stuffs 4 EDH reprints into one box and hands you a new Kratos for dessert. You get World at War, which has only been in Rise of the Eldrazi on the list, Rite of Flame, which is banned in Modern and playable for some spell copy decks. So if you're at Vortex for Punisher Shells and a repeatable board Scald that token decks hate. That covers multiple red archetypes without even talking Kratos being a great haste enabler and actual position. Using base copies only, the reprints add up to around $23, and $40 for non-foil, $50 for foil is the cost of this and all these layers. Secret layer frames usually carry art premiums, and that new Kratos is going to be the unique cherry that can carry its own value curve. My rule would be, if you want Kratos and you're buy this one at release. If you only want one reprint's new art, I'd wait for singles or the WPN non-foils to come out. And reminder that all secret layers have a secret bonus card, and the crossovers for these tend to be on theme. And lately with the IP crossovers, there tends to be like a main card that people can get and a desirable card that people can get. So there's a bit of a loot box aspect to this. Keep that in mind, that other, you know, Kratos God of War cards might be in the God of War secret layer, and that will apply to all of them for the specific IP that those are covering. With God of War Norse, I really love the design of the partner commanders. I personally don't care about God of War at all. I've never played it, but attacking or dying, giving you experience counters is very on theme for a Magic card made from a role-playing action game. So I gotta give props to that. I think that's super sick. Atreus, Impulsive Son, and Kratos, Stoic Father, give you a clean, aggressive core with card draw and actual synergy. The reprints pull their weight too. Teferi's Ageless Insight as Mimir's Ancient Wisdom is a proven blue card draw engine, and it plays off of Atreus. Iroas, God of Victory as Freya, is the combat blanket that turns sideways decks into survival and destruction machines. Base copies of these total about $16. Obviously, we're not counting the mechanical unique cards when we say that. Most of the value of this one is that Iroas, around 13 of the $16 of value you get in this layer. It still costs 40 or 50 if you want the foil or non-foil. Past secret layer versions of both of these cards have sold well above base. That art premium really matters when casual demand is evergreen. I'd say if you want either new legend, and I'm imagining these rarely split up, so you probably want both, and either of these reprints, it's usually cheaper in aggregate to just buy now than to piece it together later. And from experience, typically when I buy the commander from a set like this, I end up wrapping back around and grabbing all the rest just so it matches in my deck, and wishing I had just bought the secret layer in the first place. I'm looking at you, Prosh, the layer that all the cards matched in that really unique art style, and I didn't get it for some reason, and I bought the Prosh and then ended up wrapping back around and getting the entire layer individually and paying way more anyway. With this one, you are only getting 2 reprints in there for total cards because you're getting double mechanically unique cards. I personally like this buy if you liked the games, and it's a fun design, and both of these cards will go in the deck. I like that the whole layer is just one nice little commander starter kit. Jin Sakai Ghosts of Tsushima, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, looks like an Esper commander that actually attacks. So you're speaking to me, baby. Never played this game, but you have my interest. And honestly, in a vacuum, outside of the IP, the art on this whole drop is just sick as hell. Past Commandy, you get the Path to Exile, Born Upon a Wind, Ghostly Flicker, and a castle reskin of a Ganjo castle, which isn't like great, but it's scarce. So, you know, it's a legendary land, so that's relevant to some things. Anyway, that's removal, instant speed shenanigans, blink loops, and commander protection in a single box. Commander starter kit achieved. Base reprints land these around $16 to $19 depending on which path you're looking at. Just like the rest at 30 and 40, you're paying for the mechanically unique piece and some reskins. Art premiums of this will push path and the land, while the unique Jin will set his own price. If you want Jin, you definitely want the Path to Exile in that deck, and you could probably find a home for both of the other 2 instants if you tried, though they aren't immediately tied to the commander mechanically like some of these others. If you just want the new Path to Exile skin, I would personally wait for singles or the WPN non-foil, and remember that the secret bonus card can swing this or any of these layers. On theme picks sometimes add real value to these secret layers, and for me, looking at a samurai secret layer, if it's a sword, if it's like a shadow spear or some intensely valuable piece of equipment, ooh baby, that is what this drop really needs. I would say this is a likely buy for players who are going to sleeve at least 2 of the reprints plus the Jin, and for pure collectors who've never played this game, maybe you just want the path because you think it's cool, waiting is fine. Alloy brings the heart, the big robot brings the finance bat, and the Horus treatment is effectively your Blightsteel look, and that card alone pays for the box. The rest of the pack is flavor but staples. Farseek is a real ramp card almost everyone plays. I'm actually seeing some cross-set synergy here. Farseek would be great in the Jund Last of Us deck, and the Tarian Soul Cleaver the same way. Kind of thinking about that, because spoiler alert, I want the Joel commander. Who'd have thought? Meteor Golem is beloved in Blink decks, even if it costs $7, and this one looks like a really big robot dinosaur, and that's cool. Base reprints land this set around $37, with Blightsteel doing almost all of the lifting here. Prior secret versions of the Colossus have sold at a strong premium, y'all. At 40 or 50, the Blightsteel looks cool, pays for the whole thing, and so this is the only one that I'm buying that I don't really have any other real reason for other than that one card is great, expensive, and looks particularly cool. A lot of times when the headliner of a secret layer is what is pulling everybody to it, that one's not going to be easily purchased as a single, so you might as well get it if you can at the time of secret layer and get all the extra bonus cards alongside it, you know, as a bonus to just wanting that. That's kind of how I'm approaching this one. I'll tell you about my plan with The Last of Us secret layers when I talk about those, but just to play devil's advocate with myself on this one, lots of people are going to be grabbing this one for that top heavy Blightsteel, so singles of the rest of this will likely arrive cheap, and you can decide on the big robot later, but I would say it's going to be pretty simple to buy Alloy. Maybe less on Alloy because she's mechanically unique, but any of the other reprints in this set are going to be cheaper because people are going to be ejecting those as chaff because they only want the Blightsteel Colossus. Nathan Drake, Treasure Hunter, wants to fight while you impulse draw into cast from exile lines. It reads really fun and very mid-power with that need to attack. I do appreciate that he has First Strike. The reprints are the real leverage point. Passionate Archaeologist is a heavy hitter in exile cast decks and has been historically scarce and pops when commanders are printed that really want a copy of it. So it's nice that this comes with a copy of it. Whip of Erebos is a solid lifelink plus recursion tool that does not directly synergize with Nathan, but it still plays. It's a great card. Chain Reaction and Midnight Clock round out the flavor and some board control in the pack, but the baseline value versus the cost. Base reprints here add to about $26, and most of that's Archaeologist. The cost here is 40 or 50 like all the rest. Don't forget that the secret bonus cards can change the math slightly. It could be just a token or a command tower like normal, but it could also be a sweet impulse draw or theft piece. If Nathan's your next build because you're the world's biggest Uncharted fan, obviously get this, and you obviously want Archaeologist as well, so just buy this one at the release and move on. So The Last of Us has two different drops. The first one's got Ellie Brickmaster and Joel Resolute Survivor. It finally gives us a chance to kind of play Pedro Pascal as our commander, so yeah! I'm just excited that I'm going to have a commander named Joel, personally. Ellie has a sweet token creation ability that'll also help us create tokens to die on our opponent's turns, so we can trigger Joel more often. I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this commander. The reprints are Cabal Ritual as Cordyceps Excision and Haunted One as a background, plus the Cordyceps Infected token. It's kind of womp that you get a token instead of a third card, but this is one of those where you get two mechanically unique cards, you get two reprints, and they're also going in a token. I appreciate you at least providing us with the zombie token. Baseline value versus cost. The baseline reprints here total roughly $18 to $20, and secret layer prints obviously carry a little bit of a premium long term, especially the mechanically unique stuff. Cost is 40 or 50 like all of them. My personal stance on this is that this is one of the 3 drops I'm going to be buying. I'm going to get foil of this one. I'm an Xbox guy. I've never played any of these games. I don't connect to PlayStation at all. But this is the first time that I'm ever going to have a Joel. So I'm going to spend the $100 to get a Joel commander deck that once those cards arrive, I'm still gonna need like 90 cards to finish out the deck. And I'm just laughing about it at this point because I really do appreciate that the 2 drops from Last of Us 1 and 2 synergize well, and I can just kind of shove them all into a deck. But that means that I'm getting like 6 or 7 cards max for $100. Hell yeah, that'll be super, super sweet. I'm probably gonna build it like Jund zombie tokens across both drops with some Kindred Spice. If you want either of these legends and you'll play Cabal Ritual or Haunted One, it's like the rest. Buying now is just going to be cheaper than piecing it, but if you want one of the reprints and not the mechanically unique cards, I would say that you can skip these and get them in the market later for cheaper than you're going to pay for the entire drop. For Last of Us Part 2 Secret Layer, you've got Abby Merciless Soldier, which always enters under an opponent's control, which is kind of cool, and then Ellie Vengeful Hunter gives you a sacrifice engine and some indestructible tricks that make token chaos profitable. that is, for me, top tier flavor, and it actually plays. I'm going to combine these two into one commander deck, have Joel, and I think I'm going to run Ellie Vengeful Hunter, because to me there are more ways to more easily create tokens than there are to sacrifice them, and I like having 2 token payoffs in the command zone, and I'll just run it with a lot of token creators in the 99. And like I said, I think I'm going to lean towards zombie tokens specifically, so that I can also take advantage of some kindred pieces, but that one's still in the build phase. The reprints for Last of Us Part 2 are Dictate of Erebos as a Flash Edict engine, and Mykolov as the ball, plus another infected token here. This package just screams Jund Sacrifice, which is playing my heart song. Baseline value versus cost here, we've got base reprints around $19 for Last of Us Part 2. The past Secret Lair versions of Dictate and Mykolov have sold well above base, so I would anticipate those going up long term. For 40 or 50 bucks, you're gonna get the non-foil or the foil. This is the second drop that I'm definitely buying, and I'll get that third one just for the Blight Steel. It's kind of a game time decision for me, but I'm definitely buying these two so that I have Joel Jund zombie token shell across both products ready to go, because sometimes the bit picks you, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to build the new HBO show Jund Sacrifice now, buying this at release is smarter. If you only want Dictate's new look, like I said, get singles of the reprint stuff on this and buy the mechanically unique stuff now if you can. I know that it's going to be tough to buy some of these, but hopefully it's a little more Sonic than it is like Mario. We can actually get the things we want, and maybe even some extras left over after the fact, you know? One last bonus card reminder for the road. Every Secret Lair has them. These IP crossovers are usually on theme, and the range is wide. It could be a command tower that's non-foil, like the Lara Croft, very disappointing bonus card. Or it could be a sneaky chase. Abundant Groot proves that even a basic ramp card can be the desired pull. As long as it's a playable card, it doesn't matter if it's Llanowar Elves or it's Mana Drain, right? Like, either one can show up. It's all about which one you pull. WPN supply note, you're gonna get non-foils of these at WPN stores later, which often helps soften non-foil scarcity, but it just doesn't beat the buy it rule for people who want unique legends, most of the package specifically for. Honestly, 3 years ago I would have slammed the whole foil bundle with this IP-driven stuff and let it gather dust, but today's there's just too much stuff to buy. I can't buy all of Magic anymore. I'm sure you're in the same boat. I'm buying the 2 Last of Us so that I can build a Joel Commander deck. I'm going to game time decision on Blightsteel Colossus for 50 bucks essentially. Foil Blightsteel for 50 bucks is essentially how I'm looking at that purchase. And everything else is a pass for me personally, even though I think that the Greek and the Norse are strong buys for players that want them. Subscribe, I'll ping you in singles bottom, and when WPN stock starts nudging prices so you can pounce on it in the high tax, subscribe if I've given you any value at all. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye! Everybody told me to skip Spider-Man, and honestly, I almost did. I'm buying it anyway, but not yet. This set is collectible first and playable second, and that actually, to me, makes it easier to shop. Hey, I'm Joel, and I cover Magic card prices and news full-time, and I've been playing Magic for over 20 years. My job is to keep you ahead and avoid landmines in this expensive collectible game. Subscribe, and I'll keep you ahead. Final Fantasy singles are the current buy right now. I just dropped a video about that. Check it out. Spider-Man is adding to my watch list. I hope I'm clearly planted on your second monitor, because today I'm going to show you exactly what I'm targeting from this set, which versions I actually want, what decks they go in, and when I'll move from watch list to buy. I'm going to start with the pure collectability plays, because that's where Spider-Man shines in my opinion. Then we'll hit commander upgrades for commanders I've already got, new commanders that I'm building from the set, and we'll go over timing so you know when the floor is the floor at the end, and I'll give you the buy windows I'm watching so you can set your alerts and snag these at the actual floor. If that sounds good, hit that like button and let's get going. If it doesn't, leave me a comment about how I'm wrong and the algorithm will think we're fighting and everybody wins. Joel, our Magic is brought to you by Card Conduit, the best place to sell your cards quickly and easily on the internet. TCG Player, the best place to buy them. Dragon Shield, the best way to protect them. And Moxfield, the only place to put your deck lists on the internet. You know I want all of the source material cards from Spider-Man, and I want all 40 of them in foil. The MAR cards are the cleanest long-term collectible released to me. They're borderless, they look like art prints, and they don't lean on a gimmick frame that'll date itself in 6 months. The distribution also makes sense. MAR has a dedicated slot in collector boosters, which means consistent supply across the sheet for non-foils, especially since these are in play boosters as well. That even spread matters for collectors. We're not chasing serialized chaos or short printed oddities. I'm going to anchor my patience to Opposition Agent, the top of the list right now, because it's a recognizable staple. The non-foil was around the low 20s, foil was around mid-50s, already off early highs above 85. My alerts personally are 15 non-foil and 30 to 40 for the foil. Hopefully the fall off of that top card in the set goes down into that preferred range for me. That's usually weeks 6 through 10 when restocks land and the last wave of cracking cools off. If you love the art, this is the display play. If you don't, great. I'll happily take all of your MAR foils at the floor. Either way, follow me so you don't miss the dip. I want the entire borderless scene in foil. It's a 9-card grid that looks ridiculous in a binder spread or in a frame, which is how I'm going to put it. I'm 2 cards away from finishing mine. Look, at MagicCon Atlanta, these were flowing. People were literally giving away their extra foils of some of these uncommons and a couple of the rares. That's the reality of heavy collector booster cracking, which was happening in Atlanta. Early supply makes scene pieces look like commons. Then the faucet closes up and everyone realizes that finishing the 9 is kind of annoying, especially if you want foils. That's when the prices will start to creep back up. And so my plan is to complete the 9 set at single-digit prices per foil, hopefully. Miles and Gwen are up in the like 20s and 40s right now. Those two might be my challenge. I'm hoping like 15, 20 bucks maybe for Miles and Gwen. We'll see. For me, this one's not about playability at all. It's just I think they look dope and I want the whole set. This one's gonna make some people roll their eyes, but I also bought the scene box and I like it. It lives back there on my shelf. It's almost irrelevant to me, honestly, that the contents are playable Magic cards. I care that it looks like a tiny little museum exhibit of Spider-Man. If you want an easy win for your background shot or your off-the-shelf, the scene box is a pretty low-stress pickup under MSRP, and it looks good altogether. I did not like and was critical of how it looked on the internet. I like it in person, and it's looked really sick on my shelf back there. For timing, I think these are pretty wide. Right now, it's fun to mention that one, but the foils of that 9-card scene that I'm trying to collect, I am trying to get these sooner rather than later. Right now, I need Miles and the Gwen, I need a foil of the Multiversal Passage, and I'll be complete. Avenger actually said he's going to hit me with the foil Multiversal Passage for that set on Twitter, so hello, I'm waiting. The 3 classic comic cards are weird for me. I really want them, but only for the cover side, the back of it. The comic cover faces are just absolute heaters. I've seen them all in person and they're sick. The front, the main faces look off to me in a way I can't really fully explain, but that's fine. This is a display choice. If/when I do build them, I'm casting the cool side anyway, so it is what it is. These are in foil only that came out of the collector boosters, and they're not going to flood like mass showcase frames. Floors are going to be stickier and listings are going to be spikier. My plan for this one is opportunistic sniping if and when it happens. Watch for sellers to move these as consolation prizes for not pulling a soul stone, which is what everybody's chasing in the collector boxes anyway. I'm not going to chase these at their first bounce because nostalgia plus scarcity can fake momentum with these. If the price action does get stubborn, I'll probably still grab them, but I'm going to make the covers do the work. That's what I want for the cards. They need to be the card face I'm actually going to look at on my battlefield or in a binder. And a tip for display people, here's something I've been thinking. Put these 3 covers in a horizontal row under or over the 9-card scene in one big display. You'll get a comic strip with your full splash page. I think it's going to look intentional and really set everything apart. I'm skipping the web slinger frame from Spider-Man entirely. If you love it, go get it. For me, the frame just fights with the art. I actually was handed the foil Peter Parker flip card in the web frame treatment, a foil of it at Atlanta MagicCon. Dom just handed it to me, was just like, here, you probably want this and we'll figure it out later. I still couldn't get excited about it and I ended up just giving it back to him. I'll admit, They look better in hand, but still just were not for me at all. Power to you if you like them. In my opinion, with a collectible first set, taste matters. You don't need to own every treatment to have a great binder. Pick a look and commit. If you want the playable version for a specific deck, go for the cleanest printable frame or the extended art that's not going to age badly. I'm saving my bling budget for panels, covers, or MAR, obviously. Also, quick reality check. Spider-Man's not about EV farming the sealed. If you want to gamble on collector boxes, there are sets for that. This is one about curating a page and picking commander cards that actually make your decks better. Let the parts you don't like fall off your search filters. You're not required to engage with it. Your future self's actually going to thank you when you open your binder and it looks like a sick comic gallery of cool usable cards and not a clearance rack, I promise. Let's talk about commanders I'm upgrading from Spider-Man. As per usual, my girl Dahada gets the biggest injection from this set. It's all about legendary density and recursion, and Spider-Man quietly hands Dahada 2 new engines and a stack of glue. Behold the Sinister Six is my headline here. It reanimates up to 6 creatures with different names. In Dahada, this reads like a tiny one-card rebuild after a wipe, or a disgusting value dump when your graveyard's nice and curated. Gwenom, Remorseless, plays like a black card advantage engine. Lifelink, Death Touch, and the attack trigger that lets you play off the top for life is exactly what Legends decks want when they stall out. Agent Venom is a flexible role player. Flash, Menace, draw on your non-token deaths gives Dahada another angle on board turnaround. Carnage, Crimson Chaos rebuys your small value pieces on entry, then forces a swing and a sack on damage. It's a loop enabler that keeps the graveyard moving. Spectacular Spider-Man's Mother of Runes for the table and a Legend shell. Flash it in, give hexproof and indestructible, you look like a genius. And not to mention the Soul Stone. It's a sneaky one. It's a legendary, so it works perfectly in those kind of shelves, and it's a rock that later turns into a repeat reanimate. You're not going to feel bad drawing that early or drawing it late. Dahada players, your upgrades from this set are real. Let's rapid fire my other commanders that are finding upgrades with actual deck rolls from the Spider-Man set. I've got 2 cards for Bumbleflower, which plays a lot of creatures. That deck has over 40 in it. Web of Life and Destiny is a convoke ramp spell that keeps paying you by finding and dropping creatures on your combats. Foils of that are already drifting into the $5 zone. Strength of Will is a sweet trick that makes your creatures indestructible and turns the damage into counters. And that pairs nicely with fight effects and big bodies. In Spirit Artifacts gets Iron Spider Stark upgrade, which reads like Steel Overseer with plot armor. Vigilance, tap to Anthem, and a card draw mode by removing counters. Artifact creature shells, especially proliferate decks, love this. Cloud X Soldier likes big bodies and free stats. Doc Ock's Tentacles auto-equips to Cloud, who's 5 mana, and immediately puts his power exactly where we want it for maximum cloudy value. That's a bulk pickup that's going to play above its price tag in that deck. Liesa in Orzhov Life Gain can use Morlun, Devourer of Spiders. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, in a 2025 Magic the Gathering video, I'm recommending Morlun, Devourer of Spiders, possibly for your Life Gain decks. It works as a scalable drain and counters engine that sits nicely in Life Gain builds. Hearthhole Land Graveyard Matters got Sandman Shifting Scoundrel, which scales to your land count, makes combat super awkward, and has cute recursion lines. None of these are set defining, but together they're going to grease the wheels of a few commander decks. 3 brand new commander decks are on my to-do list from Spider-Man. The first is Norman Osborn with Grixis discard, J. Jonah Jameson in Menace attack shells, and then Jackal as a pod-style genius scientist. Norman plays like a 2-act value engine. On the front, you're looting, making him slippery. On the back, you're discounting graveyard spells and turning wheel effects and discards into castable gas from the bin. That's a build that rewards sequencing, really punishes people emptying your hand or filling up your graveyard. J. Jonah Jameson wants suspected Menace bodies that make us money. Think Nelly Borka lines that are now minting treasures every combat. Easy to tune, low curve, easy to snowball. It's what I'm building right now. I got my J. Jonah Jameson promo over here from Atlanta. I've been putting this deck together over the last day. Jackal's the spicy one for me right now. Cast a creature with mana value equal to his power. You copy it, then he grows so that the next cast of the bigger creature copies again. That's sort of pod math without needing sacrifice the artifact or any of the other spells that allow you to do that. And you can design for multiple power breakpoints to chain value up the line. I'll probably also build flip miles at some point as Naya Legends ++1 counters, but that's close to something I have now, close to a few things I have now, and so it'll probably just simmer until I want a fresh paint job on a new commander deck. If you want full primers, let me know which one of those you're interested in, and I'll put them on Moxfield and walk through the play lines in a dedicated video. Two general commander pickups deserve a call out because they slide into a lot of decks and they're not really loud yet. The first one's Shadow of the Goblin. It's a red glue piece that quietly turns your play patterns into damage. It rummages in your first main, then pings opponents when you cast from exile or just not from your hand. Your red decks already do that with Impulse Draw, Adventures, Foretell, free casts. Look at commanders like Obnixilis, Prosper, Rocco. Those commanders would love this one. You're going to clock more damage than you would expect. Spider Sense is the flexible protection spell that plays like a weird split card. You can counter a spell that targets a creature you control, or you can do the web thing and bounce a tapped creature to make it cheaper and protect a different creature maybe by countering the spell. You know, it's kind of crazy that discount mode matters in tight turns when you want to protect, still advance the board, save a little bit of mana, keep your board building. Maybe even get some extra ETB value off the thing that you bounce back. I also like Hide on the Ceiling for some blue safety tricks. These are just the sort of cards that sit in a binder at a couple bucks until they're suddenly $5 or $6 because a commander sends them, or honestly they just drift up over time because people know and find out that they play well but were turned off initially because Spider-Man sucks as a set. My advice is if you're already buying some of the collectible stuff, just toss one or two of each of these into a cart at their floor. Future users going to be happy when you're not paying shipping twice for utility pieces or higher prices. The pattern on sets like this is simple. Spike, slide, settle, slow climb. For Spider-Man, I'm watching 3 different windows. Lots of the singles in the set I think are going to dip 3 to 6 weeks, while supply is heaviest and traders want to move their extras because they were searching for soul stones. The MAR foils I think are going to be a little bit later move, weeks like 6 through 10 once collector, booster, cracking cools, and restocks are clear. That's when the dedicated slot is finally going to show you that floor. Classic, cosmic, foil, come on. And if you want me to call the floor on the realistic cards to obtain, hit the subscribe button. I'll post a follow-up with exact cards in a few months when we hit the numbers I mentioned earlier. Let me know if you think I missed any power cards that are going to be role players in any of your commander decks, and we'll talk about it in the comments. Also, Krim, if you're watching, let me get that multiversal passage in foil, baby. Come on. What would you buy if I told you that you had to spend $5 on Magic the Gathering right now? Now, what would you buy if I told you you had to spend $100? Well, today we're gonna go on a full-blown MTG shopping spree. 5 price points, 0 prep, and 1 goal. Just try to impress each other with the best pickups that we can show at any tier. Hey, I'm Joel. I've been playing Magic for over 20 years. Magic news and card prices is literally my full-time job now. So if you want to know how far your dollar can actually go in this game, hit subscribe and I'll keep you ahead. Today, Mudstas join me to go head-to-head. We have each built a shopping cart with Magic singles, sealed product, or whatever catches our eye, as long as it fits the budget. It's part deck building, part finance, part chaos, and make sure you stick around to the end so you can see our $100 picks. Mudsta, are you ready for this?
I'm ready. I'm ready to go. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Joel, our Magic is brought to you by Card Conduit, the best place to sell your cards quickly and easily on the internet. TCG Player, the best place to buy them, and where you can buy any of the singles or sealed product that you see in the show today. Use that link in the pinned comment or in the description before you check out, and you will help out the channel at no extra cost to yourself. Dragon Shield, the best way to protect your cardboard, and Moxfield, the only place to put your deck lists on the internet. Mudsta, you're the guest on this episode. I always like to let the guest go first. Number one, why don't you introduce yourself to everybody and then hit us with what you've got at your $5 tier.
Sure thing. Hey, I am Andrew, aka MTG Mudsta. That is a story for another day. But I run a YouTube channel where I post 2 gameplay videos a week and sometimes do shorts with funny outcomes. But for the most part, if you're looking for me on any kind of form of social media or platform, you type in MTG Mudsta, you are 9 out of 10 times going to find me. So for $5, I mean, outside of a delicious footlong, I went with Nibelheim Aflame. It is from the Final Fantasy set. It is a Mythic. It has Sephiroth. It has everything you could possibly want. I think it comes in at slightly under $5, but that's okay because it's worth it. It is a red board wipe. It has card draw or exile, and it has flashback. It's everything you want and more.
It's so much stuff. I've actually won games with this card. I put this in my cloud deck because I tried to pack that with as much, Final Fantasy, not only good cards, but flavor as I could possibly pack in there.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, the ability to just have a giant powered cloud deal his damage to every other creature, basically on the flashback, get 4 cards drawn, and then swing through completely unblocked. It's just a crush. This is a great one. For my $5 level, I want to go with a green card that I don't see people running enough, and that is Druid of Purification. This 4-mana Druid enters. You get to pick an artifact or enchantment you control. Everybody else gets to pick an artifact or enchantment you don't control. That's the important part. And then we're destroying each permanent chosen this way. Specifically, I want the Secret Lair version. It's $5.26. The regular version of this card is like $1. And so it doesn't seem like that much of a jump. There seems to be a little price discrepancy there because especially this is the only special version of Druid of Purification. I love this card though.
It's fantastic. It's a great card. I like that it adds like a political element to it because you're the one casting it, but it's your opponents who are picking the stuff. They're going to have to talk about what they want to destroy, and sometimes they get together and they're like, okay, everyone picks the same thing, and that's fine. But sometimes there's problematic stuff on the board that someone wants to wipe out, and that can result in people, kind of being like a little bit frustrated with the things getting blown up, and that can also shift some of the focus away from you playing the card to the person voting for the card to get blown up. I think it's a great card.
Yeah, I really love cards like that. Anything that says destroy like 2 target enchantments or any cards like that, what I like to do is I'll cast it and destroy the one that I definitely need off the board that's going to shut down my game plan.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times I'll just toss the second removal of that card to the board and be like, and then as long as it's not my thing, y'all can decide on what else y'all want to destroy, because I do feel like you said, it takes a little bit of threat off of you, even though you were the one casting the removal.
Yeah, well, that's it, because like you have to decide. People have to vote. People have to decide, and like it's different than like a Croson Grip or a Reclamation Stage where it's very clear, like this to this, that's because of me. And it's just, it's the kind of thing that I love about Commander, because it just interjects a little bit of politicalness, but at the same time, it helps forward the game, and it's a lot of fun.
Agree. Couldn't agree more.
All right, jumping into $10, Descent into Avernus. This is a card that I will jam into every single red deck. There's a lot of red cards on my list. I'm sorry, but that's just the way I am.
You have come to the right place. As long as we're playing Rakdos, we're on the same team.
Okay, then we're good to go. But Descent into Avernus is just, as soon as I saw it come out in Baldur's Gate, it was just, and it's the kind of card where you play it and it's kind of innocuous where it sits on the field and it doesn't do anything the first turn, which is always kind of like what catches people by surprise. But then you get that first trigger and all of a sudden you got 2 treasures and everyone else has got 2 treasures and they've all taken 2 damage. And it's like, oh, hold on a second. And if you get more and more and more, that's when things start to get really good. And what I like about it is that it A, speeds up the game because A, it gives everyone RAM, but also it lowers everyone's life total down. So it's this like 2-factor authentication kind of thing where it's just like, everything is going fast, gotta go fast. And I love it. It's such a great card.
It's a very Sonic card. I get that. I like that a lot. I was actually going to point that out. It speeds up the game in 2 different ways because you're ramping everybody and burning everybody's life total at once. I talk about this card all the time. I'm a huge fan of this card as well. I think it's a super underrated card as well. I think that this should be more than a $10 card, especially based on we only have the Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate printings of it, the base copy and the extended. There are no other versions. You've got the stamp promo, but that's a given for pretty much every set. It's not really going to move the needle too much. But yeah, I love this. As a person who really identifies with Rakdos, burn them all down, Furnace of Wrath style strategies, I am a huge fan of this one. All right, you said Sephiroth for your $5 pick, and it kind of freaks me out because I thought maybe I had messed up or you had stolen my pick. But for my $10 card, I'm also going with a card that has Sephiroth on it, and I'm picking Meteor Fall, which is Star of Extinction. This was that Godzilla treatment version of Star of Extinction from the SLDs that came out around Final Fantasy. This was the SLD that I did not get from that drop. I got one of each of the others, but I didn't buy this one because I didn't want a Wrath of God and some of the others. But like I said, I have that Cloud deck that I'm trying to pack as much flavor into as at the same time as making it a strong deck. And so I want this specifically for that deck as a type of board wipe in that deck, because I can give Cloud indestructible pretty frequently, and dealing 20 to everything is very frequently just going to leave my Cloud behind. And this is the one with Sephiroth in it. I think in general, across the board, Final Fantasy, it's time to start looking at it. If you're a singles purchaser, Secret Layers, the base set, even the top copy stuff, it's a good time to go and look at that set right now because we're far enough off everybody's radar. I think that everything has drifted down, and you're into that pickup range. Some of the more difficult stuff to reprint, like the Secret Layer stuff, like this Meteor Fall card, that is the kind of stuff that you're going to see start climbing ahead of everything else and get out of like, I want to spend the money on that anymore, because people are just going to be looking for the card with Sephiroth on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, the Final Fantasy set as a whole is collector dream in terms of just like, it's got all the cards that you want. It's got a lot of playable cards. Like, I think there was like Noctis's Death Magic is Damn.
Yes.
There's like so many just good cards that have like a new skin. And like, I mean, I know it's a very divisive kind of topic, but like this is the set that really kind of got me because I'm a big Final Fantasy head. But it's yeah, these are definitely cards you want to pick up sooner than later, because the reality of it is like any kind of Magic card, as it trends later into the life of it, it's just going to go up. And I mean, like even Surge Foils at this point are just like, I don't even want to say. I'm staggered by some of the prices, but it's. And yeah, it's a great board wipe too. Like, it's a fantastic just way to deal with the board.
Yeah, there will be others, to your point. Cards like Toxic Deluge, that was Merciless Poisoning, stuff like even Feed the Swarm. Even a simple destruction spell as Primogenesis in the Secret Lair Final Fantasy drop. In 3 years, when Johnny Ting Tong is coming around and he wants to build his Final Fantasy Commander deck, that is going to be the removal spell that he wants, and he's going to have to go pay for whatever the price is at that point. And that's a $20 spell that's already up to that point, and it's a 30-cent card. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely the time to look at that before we get too far away.
So $20 is one of the new set cards. It is Edge of Eternities. It is an Exalted Sunborn. I think that at this point, even though we've had so many token doublers coming our way, this is priced at a really good rate, and Warp is a really good mechanic for doing things. So it's just a great card. It's a great price. Even if you're hard casting it for 5 mana, it's still a 4/4 angel with flying and lifelink plus the doubling in and of itself. Otherwise, you're cheating out for 2 mana. It's just like, yeah, it's so much value.
Yeah, I completely agree. We've gotten a lot of these token doubly, triply style cards over the past couple of years. It's definitely a direction they're going, and they never go too low. Elspeth Stormslayer was another version of this type of effect earlier in the year, and that card has hovered around $30, $40, and it's only going to go up over time as the print run decreases. And so I completely agree. This is the type of card that you want to buy into sooner rather than later, because it's not going to be long before it starts climbing back up.
Yeah, it's one of those weird situations where typically I know a lot of people say like wait until there's like a kind of a glut of cards available and the prices come down. But this feels like, I think we've hit that medium with Edge of Eternities at this point. And if anything, it might be something like an Aether Drift situation where basically not a lot of people are opening it potentially. But I think Edge of Eternities is well received. And as a result, like, yeah, it's going to be harder and harder to find.
For my $20 pick, I actually went with a special guest card from Murders at Karlov Manor. I know a lot of people didn't love that set, but I think that the set has proven itself over time. The special guest Victimize is in that set. This is a 50-cent card, right? Like, this is printed all the time, nothing priced card, but it's one of my favorite reanimator spells of all time. 2 creature cards in a graveyard. You sack 1 creature and both of the things come back to the battlefield tapped for only 3 mana. It's just an insane amount of value, and the visual of this one looks so insane compared to the other art. You only have 2 options for the art. The Craig spearing piece that people are most familiar with, that has the person in the sacrifice circle with the blade over them. Yeah. And then the very old one that had Zancha in it with Phyrexian art. That was the original one from, I believe it was Urza's Saga. But this is the only alternate version, and at around $20, this one is kind of proving itself, I think, as a card that people highly desire and want to be their version of Victimize. When you see a card like this that is mostly a 50-cent copy that you can just get and play, but then the one special version is $20, that's a pretty good signal that that one's going to continue to rise over time. And so I just personally want to grab a copy of this before it gets out of a range where I'm like, okay, I'll pay $20 for that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, this is, I think with a lot of things, the commander precon sets are usually, not always, but there's an indication that the cards that are put in them, at least the uncommon ones, are cards that people like. So the fact that we see like Victimize a lot, the fact that we see like Rampant Growth and stuff like that, these are cards that people typically play. And like you said, if you only have 2 choices of art, and they're the ones that are usually printed, having that third one that's very limited is often enough to sort of be like, if you really want to like bling out your deck, we'll say, that's the way to go. Because obviously if you can't pick like Soul Ring. Soul Ring, there's like a billion versions that you can pick for, and only one of them is hard to find. Yeah, I mean, that's a no-brainer to me.
This set, the Murders at Karlov Manor special guest slot, had Ghostly Prison and Fabricate and Show and Tell and Tireless Tracker and Field of the Dead. Field of the Dead special guest is up to $50. That's the one where inside the like church or city hall looking thing, and they're coming up from the floorboards. It was a very good special guest set within that set for sure. Yeah, so want to grab a copy of that before we get too far. At $50 right now, I want to spend it on a copy of Jessica's Will, and not any copy of Jessica's Will, but the copy of Jessica's Will called Storm's Will. I went really SLD and special guest with my picks in this episode, but right now this one is $40, so it's $10 under the level that we're looking at here. The average copy of Jessica's Will is about $25, so the premium that you're paying for the Jessica's Will being Storm's Will is not that much comparatively to a special version of a game changer card, literally on the game changer list. But Mudsta, you know as well as I do that Spider-Man is kind of dudding, kind of everybody's lower on Spider-Man than we thought everybody was going to be. The set's kind of busted, but that doesn't mean that Marvel's not going to be sick as hell in the future. You know we're getting an X-Men set, and you know that they're not going to reprint Secret Lair art, and you know that when we go to build our Professor X 5-color Magneto Brotherhood, whatever deck we're building, we're going to want Storm's Will in there, and by that point this card's going to have doubled from $40 for sure.
Oh yeah, without question. I think that's the card where it's, again, it's got that cross appeal of A, just being a game changer, therefore an amazing card, and B, it's like you said, it's a Storm card. So obviously if there is an X-Men commander, I mean, we've already seen Wolverine at the very least, and Storm, you're going to want to jam it in there to be as thematic as possible. And yeah, again, with Secret Lairs, I mean, when they're done, they're done. And like, there's a finite amount of copies out there. So it's the kind of thing where, I just picked up a single of Storm because I missed out on the actual Secret Lair, which I'm sure many people who might be watching this video did as well.
Definitely.
So it's just the kind of thing where you're like, you got to get it when you can, if you want it. And sooner is better than later with a lot of this stuff.
And I think it's a tough mindset, right? Because at the time you could have bought the Secret Lair for 30 or 40 or whatever these were at foil and non-foil. But when you look at the prices of singles from Secret Lairs, and I won't take too long for this aside here, but just to kind of help the mindset on this purchase, if you do want a copy of Storm's Will and you're talking yourself out of it, or you want to talk yourself into it. When you look at the singles prices of any individual Secret Lair, typically 1 or 2 of the cards soak up all the value anyway. That's what you're basically looking at. And so, yeah, you could have gotten this one and all the other cards in the Storm Lair for that 30 or $40, but at this point now, $40, you can see, you know, like most of the value soaked into this card anyway, and so this was the one you were after, right? Come on.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, what have you got for us at your $50 level today?
So for $50, it was a pretty impactful card, I'd say, for the most part. I think it's his legacy play at this point, but it's the Simulacrum Synthesizer, and I'm glad I got to say it properly because that's a bit of a tongue twister for me. But this is a 3-mana artifact that has huge impact just because it scries 2 as it comes in, and then it's basically Urza's ETB trigger anytime you have an artifact that has 3 converted mana cost 3 or more come into play. You don't have to cast it. It doesn't have to be from your hand. It doesn't have to be from your graveyard. It's just if it comes in, boom, you get a construct. And the constructs get huge so fast. And it's one of those things where it's big score. So it came out of Outlaws of Thunder Junction.
That's right.
Which was, you know, that kind of, again, when they were trying to figure out how to expand the universe and the whole Magic the Gathering with hats on kind of situation. But the big score cards, I think a lot of them have gone up in terms of value. I mean, even like the cornucopia, the green one, wherever you gain a life based on how much mana or colors of mana you spend in a spell, is like a couple bucks now. And it's like, it's an okay 3-mana rock. And yeah, I think these cards are incredibly impactful. And again, because they were in that weird kind of big score slot, not the most accessible.
No, definitely not. It's interesting for your $50 level because the base copies of this are only 36 and the extended copies are around that $50 level. But if you go in between our 50 and 100 levels, you've got the like showcase one with the specific big score vault like treatment on it. I don't even know what that frame's called, but it looks cool and it's got different art. And so, you know, honestly, not that much more to go for the special version. I agree with you, man. This card is busted. This was one of the alternate lines in the Iron Man deck for the longest time. You could just tutor this up really easily. It enters straight from the library by sacking a 2-mana artifact to Iron Man's ability. It, like you said, automatically scrying 2. Anything else enters that's an artifact with mana value 3 or greater, which that deck is stacked with.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Is making 0/0s that are +1/+1 for all of your artifacts. That was basically the second win con besides just go get Mithril Coat and put it on Iron Man and punch real hard.
That's it. I mean, like the second it resolves, if this is the kind of thing where you have to answer it immediately. It's one of those cards that has to be dealt with. Otherwise, whoever's playing it, you know they're building not necessarily around it, but there's going to be so much value payoff from it.
I love that pick. Take us right into our $100 level. How are you spending the most money we're spending in this episode?
So my $100 pick is sort of in line with a lot of your picks, which is kind of Secret Lair alternate art, which is Stay With Me. I do not have a particular fondness for Final Fantasy X. It was not my favorite. I played a lot of it. I also don't particularly like Rhystic Study. It's a card that I don't typically play with, just insofar as it slows everything down.
Fair.
So I'm a little bit biased, but like we talked about before, I am a huge Final Fantasy fan, and I've been actively trading for on a complete set, and it is a $100 card for Rhystic Study, and it is very expensive. And if I'm buying something for $100, its chances is going to be that.
Right on the dot, dude. It is $99.44. This card is such a great pick. This card was my pick for this episode, bro. I'm not even lying. This was originally my $100 pick, and then I just went in a different direction, and I'm glad I did now, so we had 2 different cards to talk about. But that's so funny. Yeah, this is a game changer as well. It's got one of the most iconic moments from one of the most iconic Final Fantasy games represented in the art. It is one of the most iconic game changers, very likely to maybe even be banned one day. And at that $100 level, I do think this is a little bit speculative, but I think that the price of this one only goes up. It's hard to imagine that, you know, it won't go forever, but it's hard to imagine that this one goes lower than this. I think the risk of that happening is so low, it's insane.
Nil. I would say it's nil at this point. I mean, Rhystic Study, if a deck needs Rhystic Study, especially in CDH, it's going to play it. And I think this is just, like you said, it's iconic. It's an iconic art. It's an iconic card. And at $100 for a special version of it, that's really, like, especially for a game changer too, again, that's not going to break the bank in terms of what people are looking to spend. So I think it's definitely a good choice if you want to spend $100 on something.
I agree. This is the kind of thing you look for as a major collector piece, chat. This is the perfect union of like maximum playability with maximum collectability with maximum like visual appeal as well. The card just looks nice looking at it. Some of the, even some of the Spider-Man ones, the framing doesn't look exactly right. It's weird. The text I wish was lower because it's like covering things. This one just looks perfect. So yeah, I love this choice at 100. Love it.
What do you got? What do you got at 100?
At my $100 level, I'm leaning into something that we're doing right now, which is the Galaxy foiling. I really like that Galaxy foil original secret layer. It had the Soul Ring, had the Arcane Signet, Command Tower, all the Commander staples. Right now, the Soul Ring has gotten up into the $150 range, but the Arcane Signet is only $84 right now for the Galaxy foil. I think that that card has the same amount of playability. It's honestly a couple percentage points lower than a Soul Ring's playability, but still insanely playable. They have said, Mark Rosewater has said, that they view Edge of Eternities as a success, to your earlier comment, and that we definitely will be going back based on that. And so the Galaxy foiling will be returned to again. They are showing by replacing people's secret layers that sucked, basically. The Galaxy foil secret layers that they sold a couple weeks back, they've just sent out an email to everybody saying, hey, you don't have to do anything, but we're just going to send you a replacement copy that looks better, because that looked like, that just was awful.
I like that though. I think that's a really good move for like kind of like
100%.
player and buyer, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, hey, we recognize that this is not up to snuff, and we want to make sure that you're happy with what you get, which is a great way to deal with it.
Which shows me too that they want people to believe in that type of foiling as a premium type of foiling, so that they can what, sell it to us again, And so with this Arcane Signet from the original layer still being under $100, looking at the probability that we go back to Edge, the probability that they want to make Galaxy foiling another thing that they sell to us, and people will again revisit, like we always do, the older versions of these cards and be like, well, I want that one for my new Edge of Eternities 2 Electric Boogaloo Commander deck, so gotta have it. It's $180 now. Wish I'd bought it when Joel told me it was $84.
And I mean, the Galaxy foils are pretty. Like, I mean, when I was opening a collector box, I was so stunned by the, I mean, people razzed on me about this, but like, I opened an Ancient Tomb and I was just like, whatever, I don't, again, it's a card I don't play, so I was kind of checked out. But I was getting the basics with the Galaxy foils, and there's something about them where it's so nice. And then like even the Shocklands, it's just like, it's a nice treatment where it doesn't detract and it just adds. And I think of all the things to do, that's the way to do it, and that's the way to make your cards more special.
Let us know down in the comments what you would buy at each one of those levels. We want to talk to you about it down there. Mudsta, say bye to the folks and tell them where they can find you.
Bye, folks. You can find me, basically, like I said before, anywhere that you can type in MTG Mudsta. That is, except for TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. You can find me on YouTube, Blue Sky, Facebook, all the good stuff. And yeah, I post videos, and hopefully you get to watch them.
Links to Mudsta stuff is down in the description and the pinned comment. Thank you for watching. Do all the YouTube stuff, and we will see you in the next one. It is time to buy Final Fantasy singles. Prices have flattened out, and the window to grab the best stuff is wide open. The chase cards from the Commander set, the Through the Ages bonus sheet, and the main set all followed the exact same pattern that we've seen so many times before. Spike, slide, settle, gradual growth. That settle into gradual growth is the signal that I look for, because sealed boxes only get more expensive from here, and once people stop cracking, singles climb in price. Hey, what's up? I'm Joel. I cover Magic the Gathering news and card prices full-time. Subscribe and I'll keep you ahead of everybody else. In this video, I'm going to show you what the most expensive singles from Final Fantasy are right now, what they're doing, and why they're good buys at this moment. The gaps between tiers of cards that you need to know about, and the timing rules that I use to make pickups during windows like this that you'll be able to apply not only to this set, but any Magic set that you care to. Joel R. Magic is brought to you by Card Conduit, the best place to sell your cards quickly and easily on the internet. TCG Player, the best place to buy them, and where you can buy any of the cards that you see in this video today. Use that link in the description or the pinned comment before you check out, and I'll get a little kickback at no extra cost to you. Dragon Shield, the best way to protect your cards, and Moxfield, the only place to put your deck lists on the internet. Looking at the Final Fantasy Commander set first, code FIC, borderless commanders are sitting at the ceiling, and the spread to the rest of the list is exactly why this window is good. Pull up the Commander Final Fantasy cards on TCG Player and sort by market. You'll see those borderless commander treatments clustered up at the top, while a huge chunk of the rest of the set chills like $5 and less. That gap is the classic post-release shape. High-end stabilizes first, the floor lags, then it follows as sealed supply slows down. The highest cards spike up high, FOMO cuts out, they drop, they slide down, and then they start to slowly retrace, and that is what we look at. Right now, these treatments, the borderless commanders in their pose with the number of the Roman numeral of the game that is behind them, these are as low as they're going to get, in my opinion. These were all collector booster exclusive, non-foil, foil, and surge, and so the only place to get them is becoming increasingly rare to see opened. 3 brand new cards from the Final Fantasy Commander set are leading the pack in value overall. Sphere Grid is the counters engine that unlocks Trample and Reach once you start connecting. The base printing is already showing steady interest, and the extended art holds a premium, which is the pattern I want once Cracking cools off. If you're buying one copy for a counters deck, I like grabbing the extended while it's relatively close to the base. Tataru Taru's a glue piece card. It hands you a tap treasure on an opponent's draw once per turn, and it comes with a cantrip on entry. The market's modest right now on the base printing, and that's exactly when I like to pick utility cards up. If you want a little extra finish, the extended art puts distance between base and premium as time goes on. Summon Yojimbo cooled off from the first spike, which is perfect now. I don't need fireworks, I just want the combination of flexible protection and removal in white at a fair sticker price. If it dodges a quick reprint and keeps showing up in white lists, this is going to be asymmetric in your favor. The base and the surge foil both look reasonable today. Those are the top of the line brand new cards from the Commander set, but Final Fantasy also brought us 3 reprints that you should be aware of as well. Clever Concealment is exactly that. Phase out your team and avoid the blowout. The Commander Final Fantasy printing is in the mid-single digits right now, and the surge foil sits meaningfully higher. That spread usually widens after supply gets absorbed, which is why I like the pickup today. And Walking Ballista is evergreen, combo, scale, counters, whatever you want to do, it does it. The FIC market for this is near $5 on base, with the surge in the high single digits. If you ever wished you had extras, this is the quiet time to fix that. And don't forget, this copy has balls. Blitz balls. And Reanimate. Reanimate's a staple, and this printing is pricing near other recent versions, which is exactly what I want in a pickup window. It turns into, glad I had these around 6 months, a year later when the faucet slows down on these things. Final Fantasy brought us some new to Magic cards and also brought us some high attention reprints, but there are 3 sleeper reprints in the Commander decks that you shouldn't sleep on, and the main storyline here is Final Fantasy art on under the radar cards that we'll be seeing play for a really long time. Lightning Greaves has floor pricing on the FIC copy right now, and the Surge foil already commands a healthy premium. If you think you'll want Tifa's boots as Lightning Greaves, this is a low stress buy. 3 Visits is the same story, low single digit base, Surge again, paying a collector premium. This will go in every green deck forever. Just gotta figure it out if you're square on Enix's art. See what I did there? Sword of the Animist, Billy's personal favorite equipment. Go check out her episodes on Garage the Gathering. This equipment's great in casual Commander, and the FIC base is low, but historical behavior says it meanders upward when sets stop being cracked or the card goes out of print again. Go look at the base copy from Magic Origins that's been over $10 4 different times through its reprint life. Jump into the Through the Ages bonus sheet. Looking at it months later, you've got 2 absolute leaders, and then you got a big cliff. Stay With Me, which is Ristic Study, is the non-foil king on the sheet. Market sits right around $99, and that is still premium for non-foil, which tells you how much demand there is for this card in this treatment. Dragon of Mount Gulag, which is Ancient Copper Dragon, follows in the mid-70s market non-foil. Copper is always going to be copper. It sits on red tables, and the Final Fantasy styling has clearly landed with players. The Through the Ages bonus sheet has a band of cards under the top 2 that are between 20 and 40 and are super good pickups right now before we all move on and the prices move up. Atraxa Grand Unifier sits about mid-30s market in the showcase frame. Constant demand, easy trade, easy resale. Ragavan Nimble Pilferer Zidane flavor lives around the low 30s non-foil market and stays on buy lists forever. If you needed the card anyway, the Final Fantasy frame is fun. Akuma's Will, Blessing of the Oracle, is in that same low 30s market band non-foil. This card rarely stays cheap when supply slows down. If your white decks like to end games, this is a really good one to lock in right now. Then there are several others in here. Ranger Captain Aveos, just under mid-20s non-foil, and then Najila, Perforos, and Friends filling out the rest of the tier. The point is the liquid middle is where you can still grab some really sweet stuff before we move on. Now, the Through the Ages bonus sheet was available in play boosters, and so there are affordable copies, but the foils were a little more difficult to come by. Collector booster only, so supply is gated, and the top end looks exactly like you would expect. Mystic Study foil is the crown, right around the mid-500s market price. It's been inching up, and it is the marquee FF blue staple treat. Ancient Copper Dragon foil tracks in the low 260s market. When Red Mythic Dragon is the call for a chase card, Copper shows up, and this version hits both collectors and players. Urza Lord High Artificer foil sits a bit under 260 market and has been really sticky. That matches its cross-format gravity with collector appeal. Then you have Atraxa foil near the high 200s, and Angela foil around 190, and partner staples like Thrasios and Vile Smasher clearing 100 market foil. This is your serious but still attainable collector. And again, these Through the Ages foils were collector booster exclusive, which is part of why the top of the market is so defined for this set. Taking a look at the overall market of singles from the main Final Fantasy set, you've got 2 cards and VV on top of the list, and VV's on the way down, not up right now. Buster Sword Borderless is right at the top. Market for this card sits around $76 non-foil right now, which is down from early hype, but it is very sustained. If you wanted the iconic version without diving into Surge foils, this is the one. Sephiroth Fabled Soldier Borderless is tracking alongside Buster Sword in that low to mid-70s market non-foil area. It's drifted down week over week as the market cools, which is normal for a set to do, but it will start turning up at any point. And then VV Borderless is the outlier here. It ran super hot early, then slid as competitive concerns and ban watch chatter hit standard, which has paused buyers and has sent sellers to the market. When there's ban risk in the air, I treat it like a trade, not a hold, until Wizards clears the next announcement window. In the main Final Fantasy set, after the top 3 cards, you have a cluster of iconic borderless shots in that 40 to 50 range. The Sephiroth Pose Borderless sits around low 60s market, which is above the cluster mostly. And then you see Cloud Midgar Mercenary Borderless around the high 40s. After that, you get Traveling Chocobo Borderless in the high 40s and Summon Bahamut Borderless around the mid 40s. Those are the exact frames that catch a second wind once play boosters slow down. So if you want to go deeper for a main set play copy, the regular non-borderless versions on a lot of these sit meaningfully lower, but for long-term desirability, I prefer borderless versions. Just pick according to how you want to buy. Look, if I'm trying to time Final Fantasy singles for purchase, or really any Magic set, there are 3 rules that I follow. Simple and boring, which is why they work. Rule 1, watch the slope. I like to see the market chart flatten for 2 to 3 to 4 weeks on MTG stocks or TCG player before I bounce into top frames or premium foils. You just saw that behavior today on multiple set pages and singles. It reduces the chance you buy into the last leg of a slide. Rule 2 is pick the right variant. Extended and borderless widen the premium after cracking slows. That's why cards like Sphere Grid's Extended trades above base, and why Surge tends to command a durable premium on evergreen staples like Greaves. I call it the parfait. Know what you're after, and that is going to be according to what bracket you want to go. Base copies are at the bottom, premium, Surge foil, crazy collector stuff all at the top. And then rule 3, and this is more recent because of the way that design has been going, but I would respect the meta risk. If there is a card that is warping a format, just sitting squarely in a ban conversation, like VV was after release, like Nadu was after release, I treat it as a card with a clock. Unless I need it for a major tournament this weekend, which is a totally different issue, I wouldn't just buy a copy for Commander until that ban window is clear. Go pick through the set and let me know in the comments what cards you are personally buying. Are you finished buying Final Fantasy singles altogether? Can't wait to talk to you about it down below. Thanks for watching this far. If you're still watching, hit that like, subscribe, leave me a comment, do all that YouTube stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! collector boxes are slipping off the wall, dropping hundreds of from a hype-fueled $1,099 peak to around $690 to $700 on the secondary market. That's a $300 to $400 pumpkin bomb to the price. I really wanted to find out exactly why the premium collapsed and what it means for sealed EV. Everyone's saying never pre-order again, but I disagree, and by the end of this video, I'll explain why. I'll do that by showing you the three forces that I think caused the crash, where I think the floor of this product really is, and my exact buy plan for Spider-Man cards. Hey, I'm Joel. I've been playing Magic for over 20 years, and Magic cards and Magic card prices are my full-time job now, so subscribe if that sounds like info. I'll keep you ahead. If you bought a Spider-Man collector box at its peak, what Final Fantasy boxes did or what Lord of the Rings boxes did, let's hope that you have a bank account that looks a little more Norman Osborn than Peter Parker, if you know what I'm saying. If you watched my video and waited on collector box prices not matching the expected contents, then congratulations, you didn't get tangled up in the web of hype. But here's the thing, this wasn't some random collapse. There were warning signs from the start. Joel R Magic is brought to you by Card Conduit, the easiest way to sell your Magic the Gathering cards. If you've got a stack of singles collecting dust, head to Card Conduit to use their price check and collection estimator tool to see exactly what you could be getting for your cards. Then you can register a shipment and choose from 3 flexible service types to give you the best balance of effort and value. Whether you just want to pack and ship or you want to do a little bit of prep to save on fees, they've got you covered. Once they process your shipment, you'll get a full report and fast payment via direct deposit, PayPal, Zelle, or check. It's painless, quick, and the easiest experience you've ever had selling your Magic cards, I promise. Join the tons of happy customers that have sold their cards quickly and easily to Card Conduit, and make sure to use that code Joel when you check out and save 10% on your fees. So why did people buy into this so heavily anyway? If the set was weird and there wasn't a serialized card to chase and there weren't commander decks and the set was smaller, what's with the prices doing this anyway? I'll tell you, it's FOMO. The hype train was loaded with Pokemon flippers, scalpers, and collectors who thought Spider-Man was gonna be the next Final Fantasy. And look, that's a really catch-all term I'm using right now. Pokemon flippers, Pokemon scalpers, that's just sort of representative of the community shift that happened with Final Fantasy. A lot more of the scalping community came into Magic the Gathering around Final Fantasy, and so when I say Pokemon flippers, Pokemon scalpers, I don't care about Pokemon players or collectors or anything. I'm not trying to use that as a derogatory term against people who collect or play Pokemon, just as a catch-all term of what has happened to Magic the Gathering since Final Fantasy the set hit. Spider-Man's Universes Beyond looked like the perfect recipe. Marvel IP, flashy treatments, promise of Soul Stone variants, but here's the twist. Commander players who actually drive long-term demand weren't interested in the same way that they were for Final Fantasy. There's not a Ragavan or a Ristic study here. It's like going to see a Spider-Man movie that promises Venom but just delivers 2 hours of that guy from that 70s show. So let's talk about the chase cards, because this is where everything unravels. The big lottery hits are the Soul Stone variants. You've got the costume change and the gauntlet versions that appear in under 1% of collector boosters. The textless Cosmic Foil Soul Stone exists in extremely low quantities, so low that it probably might as well be serialized, except it isn't. That's the kicker. None of these are serialized, and without that serialized number to anchor the ceiling, I feel like sealed product doesn't have the same stuff to lean on that it did for Final Fantasy, or even a bad one like Assassin's Creed. There were serialized cards in there, and for Spider-Man, a box that launched at $1,000, skipping serialization on this one feels like releasing No Way Home without actually putting all Spider-Man in it. It's just like you missed a major part that we thought was going to be nice. Meanwhile, supply is pretty solid. TCG Player has over 300 boxes listed right now as I'm writing this. Hundreds of boxes, and sales are moving at about 15 per day. That's not a spider feeding frenzy, that's a clog in the web shooters. And here's a simple rule. When daily sales slow while active listings climb, the price doesn't hold, it falls. This is what people mean when they talk about that collector booster bubble pop. The demand just can't keep up with the number of people trying to cash out. People have invested in these collector boxes, and suddenly they see the price start falling and falling and falling. They panic and they list them and they get out immediately. That's what causes the problem. A ton of people panicking all at once. Now, as this product has fallen in price, it bounced off that floor of 650 pretty hard during its crash. So I think that it's unlikely that these boxes fall too much further than that. The market, at least for right now, seems to think $650 is a decent price to pay for these. And this is where the rubber really meets the road, the expected value of these boxes. If you strip out the lottery hits, the singles in the boxes aren't really coming close to covering the price. Unless you hit a Soul Stone or a premium Spider-Man suit, you're staring at a $700 box that breaks down to maybe half that in sellable cards. It's like expecting Spider-Man and getting Man-Spider or Spider's Man. It's a twist that no one wanted, really. So let's just call it what it is, a lottery ticket dressed up as premium product. And honestly, from what I'm saying, Magic players are tired of paying casino prices for cardboard. I don't see how the Universes Beyond model can continue on like this unless they can keep play product down and just decide that they don't care that the vast majority of people won't ever get their collector product or just buy like a pack or two. And that's why Reddit and the MTG Finance forums are full of people swearing off pre-orders forever. The tone is basically Spider-Man was a cash grab and I'm never gonna get burned again. And look, I get it. Losing $100 on a box in the last couple weeks, that stings. Spider stings. But here's my contrarian take. I don't think pre-ordering is dead. I think the pendulum is still swinging. Right now, the lesson feels like never pre-order, but give it a few sets and we'll be back to, oh no, I missed the pre-order window and the collector box prices. Look at Dark Forces, look at Final Fantasy. A year or two ago, I would have told you never pre-order sealed MTG product because it's always going to be available lower than pre-order prices. But while still seeming to be the truth for singles, I don't feel like that's the case anymore for collector product in particular. Now, for the heavily printed play booster stuff and for the commander decks, if there were any, I would say don't pre-order those and don't get caught up in price hype around those particular products. But anything collector, that's only going to have one run. I think the move is still try to secure a pre-order as early as you possibly can, as close to MSRP as you possibly can. My current rule 0 for this is that I pre-order one collector box at MSRP automatically, regardless of set, if I can. I know I'm going to want one per set, and at least the way I see it right now, there's going to still be a frenzy. MSRP collector product is still right now just a good deal across the board, and I'll let you know when it isn't. Make sure you're subscribed. Now, if you're like me and you can't really find any collector product stuff at MSRP, these are my 3 rules for how to determine where I think the value of a set falls. Number 1, the set has wide commander utility previewed early. Lots of cards across archetypes that people actually want. And this is really going to fall along with precons because very often they'll have the commander precon, but they'll also have cards seeded into the main set that you want for that precon, and they'll also have stuff seeded into the secret layers that you want for that precon, and that will be the case for all of the precons. So you can see why the absence of that for a product like Spider-Man is completely showing commander players that you don't need to really have a ton of interest in. Just have a few singles that fall into the decks that you already have, and then you can move on. And I think that that is why this feels so much different from Final Fantasy, is that in and of itself is the precons and the structure around precons don't exist. Rule number 2, I feel like a serialized or a numbered chase card that is anchoring the sealed value is going to be necessary going forward, especially for these Universes Beyond stuff. However, with the stones, the Infinity Stones, it's weird, I think, if one is not serialized, but some of the others are, or all the others are, but that doesn't mean that they can't do it, just kind of a strange dichotomy. Number 3, the set has a competitive tie-in or a cultural element that sustains demand beyond week 2. Lord of the Rings hit all 3 of these. Final Fantasy hit all 3 of these. Spider-Man, it's only really hitting the Marvel logo. Spider-Man, and that's not enough. And the weaknesses of this set feel even sharper when you start comparing it to bangers like Lord of the Rings or Final Fantasy. LOTR had the serialized one chase story that went viral. Final Fantasy still has commander players building, brewing, updating precons or building new decks from the set where there was a deep amount of like synergistic pieces to include. Warhammer 40K had a ton of commander cards that turned out to be pretty eternal. And this Spider-Man set, it's Spider-Man. It's a cool IP. I love it, there's some fun art. There's just not enough gameplay pulled. The serialization isn't there, and the Eternal staples reprinted on the bonus sheet are pretty sweet, but in the pantheon of Universes Beyond, they kind of look like a bit of a shoulder shrug. And that leads to the psychology piece that I think is the deepest thread that no one's really acknowledging here. When a Universes Beyond set tied to a massive IP underperforms, it doesn't just feel like a bad pre-order, it feels like a betrayal. You've got people that were looking forward to Spider-Man that were excited about it. So they're like, well, that sucks. But you've also got Universes Beyond haters on the other side of the aisle that are pointing to this and looking at it as an example of why Universes Beyond fails, when really it's just a failure of set cadence for WotC. And this might be copium, but I'm just hoping that this being the last in the they thought were going to be the next big thing and turned out to be not what the community wanted at all. I'm hoping that this is the last one of those where any allowance had to be made at all, and we can just move on from that as a set structure altogether. But like I said, that's copium, and I'm going to talk more about that at length in my video where I'm like, basically, I was wrong about the Spider-Man set. Look out for that one soon. People were conditioned by LOTR and Final Fantasy to think that these sets were free money, or that at the very least they were going to be worth what they were paying. So when Spider-Man fell, it felt like the floor just collapsed out from under it. The actual drop was $300, but the emotional drop is bigger because the expectations are sky high, and that's why I think combined with the Universes Beyond hate, backlash is so where do I land? 4 sealed. I'm only buying boxes or packs approaching MSRP, around $430 to $460 for a box, or like $35 for a pack. Even at this crash price of $700, you're still paying casino prices for sub 1% odds, and I'm not doing that. For singles, I'm going to wait until the market flattens out and then pick up the real Commander role players and whatever Spider-Man art treatments I want for my collection. My biggest advice, though, is don't get caught in this web of pre-order panic hype. Subscribe and I'll keep you ahead before the next big crash. Look out for my video of singles I'm targeting from this set, or my video where I admit how wrong I was about Spider-Man before previews even started. Walking Ballista, all base copies are just at lows across the board. This is the cheapest the card's been available for in a long time. The OG Aether Revolt version is down to $6, and the Final Fantasy Commander copy, the card's most recent printing, is just under that. If you look closely, this copy has balls, blitz balls, that is. And that's not the only classic artifact trudging downward in price. Skullclamp got new art in the Tarkir Dragonstorm Commander Precon it was last printed in, and that copy has lazily drifted down from around $8 to under $5. And if you compare that to base copies of Skullclamp, that's about as low as this equipment ever gets. Hey, what's up? I'm Joel. I've been playing Magic for over 20 years. Helping you play this very expensive game for less is my full-time job now, so subscribe and I'll keep you ahead. Hey, real quick spoiler alert, I'm going to show you every card from the video right now, so look away if you don't want them spoiled. Walking Ballista and Skullclamp with the Tarkir Dragonstorm art are just a couple of the sweet batch of cards headed down in price or at all-time lows that I want to look at with you in this video. Throw me on your second monitor and let's talk about some cardboard to spend paper on. Magic is brought to you by Card Conduit, the best place to sell your cards quickly and easily on the internet. TCG Player, the best place to buy them, and where you can pick up any of the cards I cover in the video today by clicking the link in the pinned comment right before you check out. It's going to help me out at no extra cost to you. Dragon Shield, the best way to protect your cards, and Moxfield, the only place to put your deck lists on the internet. Let's start with something a little more speculative and check in on Lotus and sorry, I don't want to say those words too loud and cause a huge stir. Right now, they're both still banned in Commander, but I believe that there is very little chance that they both stay banned in Commander forever. I truly believe one will come unbanned, and I personally think and hope that's Jold Lotus. Please, 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 please. Both cards are as low as they've ever been in my lifetime, or any lifetime, any age, the age of men, the age of elves. The prices are low. Mana Crypt's about 40 bucks for a copy right now, and honestly getting into the range where I'm gonna grab 1 or 3 of these as a flyer. I mean, look at the special guest version from LCI. That's only 57 bucks right now. The Framebreak Borderless JLo from Commander Masters is at an all-time low of around 50 bucks. And look, both treatments of either card should immediately double or more if they're swapped back to being game changers, and that's mostly been off people's radars and not in the general discussion, and that's a good time to look at any card for pickup. I've got 3 blue mythics that have some weird pricing discrepancies I think you should look at, starting with the extra turns spell Temporal Manipulation. It's at an all-time low of $12 for the Ultimate Masters, but the story's weird. The prices go down as we go up in what should be treatment desirability, and that's typically the opposite. Though the base copy's at 12, the Foundations Showcase is at like 9 right now, and the Future Side border is at like $5 to pick up. Additionally, all copies of Omniscience are evening out around $5, with older copies like the M19 falling from 13 in October of last year to like the $5 mark, and the newer copies from Foundations are rising up from 2 to that $5 mark. Right now it's noteworthy that the borderless copy with Dominic Mayer art's only like $7 so it strikes me as a discrepancy to look at. I feel like these copies are going to be the desirable version if this one dodges a reprint for a while. Look at the mana foils of this one specifically. Way more expensive than 7, but still highly desirable and I think underpriced. Bribery is at an all-time low of about $5 for the Commander Masters reprint, but it has 2 secret layer reprints for about $5 and a Judge promo for only about 15. Look, I know I'm an MTG boomer, but does nobody play this card anymore? It just doesn't get played over Spell Table, or people think it's too mean. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you want a cheap copy of Bribery. It's like $5. I found a commander I've literally never seen, or for some reason didn't feel the need to file away in the cobwebs that are currently in my brain. Tycho, the Patient Avalanche, is a real mythic that was printed in a real Magic the Gathering set, I'm pretty sure. Maybe it was released toward like the end of April or something, or maybe it was previewed late in the day when it got shown off, maybe like 40 minutes after 5 or something. Maybe I was probably distracted, I guess. I don't know. This one's been drifting down from over $20 to an all-time low of $4.50. Close. If you want a turtle take on Ninjutsu or Dimir Blink, here you go. I would imagine this card either gets a secret layer or a major price spike around the Ninja Turtles Universes Beyond set, don't you think? I've got 2 great green mythics that are entering good price range as well. Innkeeper's Talent isn't a mythic, but we sure treated it like it was for a while, and hell, maybe it is. I don't know. Additionally, I've got a non-Marvel Hydra to talk about with Gold Vein, which has pretty much been a $10 card since it was printed, and it's gliding down into 7s. Y'all, this card gets played more places than you'd think. The obvious places like Zaxara, Magus Lucia Kane, or Crankin' the Hydras, but Helga, Skittish Seer, and even Indominus Rex decks are all taking a look at this. Then Innkeeper's Talent has been upwards of $30 before, and at this point it's starting to finally settle down and drift toward $10. I think that this set has just been out long enough now, and this card has fallen off people's radars enough that it's getting into a nice range. I will say that with big shakeups coming to standard soon, I think, as of writing this video, I'd consider looking for a copy of this before some green counters standard deck comes back into the limelight, if you want it for your commander deck. 2 great white cards are coming across my desk lately. Akroma's Will has been dropping just a bit for Commander Precon copies recently. I saw that the LCI Commander copies going for like under $9, and if you can get this card for under $10, that's great compared to historical prices. The card premiered in Commander Legends and has spiked to over $20 3 times in between reprints, so I'm looking to grab some copies at single digits for sure. Then we've got Terra Eternal, which recently popped from bulk to over 10 on Toss Metal Bender's announcement, but is starting to drift back down toward $5. I'd wait now to move these if you were slow to your bulk box, but Toph hopefuls might want to check and see if they think it's going to get reprinted in some way around or just after Avatar's debut as a set, or if it'll spike again when the vast majority of builders start looking for singles for their commander deck. Either way, be aware of this one's volatility. If you're still watching, thanks. Subscribe if you got any value out of this video. You think you might get value out of the next one. Leave me a comment and let me know what you're seeing at good prices. I'd love to talk to you about it in the comments. And here is a video that YouTube thinks you will enjoy next. Is it me, or did all of the art for the Spider-Man Secret Lair stuff sort of crush the main Spider-Man set's art? Like, couldn't the main set have looked more like all of this Secret Lair stuff? Wizards wants you to spend about $260 on Spider-Man Secret Lairs. 5 drops at $30 or $40, plus a $60 basic land where they're reprinting the Oil Slick basic lands from Phyrexia. Wait, those are different? Those aren't the basic lands from Phyrexia. Oh, those are Venom lands. Wait, did you say they're $60? Hey, what's up? I'm Joel. I've been playing Magic for 20 years. MTG News and Magic card prices is my full-time job now, so subscribe and I'll keep you ahead. I'll give you the TLDR. This entire drop is filled with cards that are extremely playable but aren't worth that much out of the gate. But don't let the online haters make you think that's all that matters. I can buy a copy of Sir Conrad the Grim for 50 cents right now, but if I want the Secret Lair version with art by Mark Riddick, it's going to set me back over $40 just by itself. I'm going to break down each drop of Spider-Man with real card context and current base copy prices from my notes that I'll stack against MSRP so you can fast what I'm buying and what I'm skipping. With the Daily Bugle breaking news drop, they turned Factor Fiction, Frantic Search, Scheming Symmetry, Blasphemous Act, and Impact Tremors into front page news with the Daily Bugle treatment. Basic price sheet. Factor Fiction is basically 50 cents. Frantic Search is like a quarter. Scheming Symmetry sits around $6 for the core 2020, with a prior Secret Lair foil around $17 that was not a beloved art style. Blasphemous Act is about $2 even with a million reprints, because 13 to everything never goes out of style. Impact Tremors is only $1.65, but keep in mind it's a Foundations common, which should tell you how sticky demand is for desirable versions. And there is a prior Secret Lair Tremors comp at about $15 for art that is definitely some of the art of all time. For this drop overall, non-foil MSRP is $29.99, foil is $39.99. On raw singles, I'd call it 10 to 12 bucks today. On the Bugle Appeal, it's premium. The Bugle masthead, the panel borders, the split of card information as headlines and newspaper design, it's all very unique and works for me, as opposed to something like the arcade borders, those arcade boxes from the Aether Drift Secret Lairs. I'm going to personally buy 2 copies of this one in foil, one to use and one to hold on to. EV is weak on paper for this one, but the art and raw playability of these cards does the heavy lifting. Heroic Deeds is a commander starter pack in Spider-Man outfits. You've got Soul Ring, Command Tower, Lightning Greaves, 3 visits, and Ephemerate. My notes put Ephemerate at $4 to $5 depending on the version, with the top end being a fancy Mystical Archive foil that you can't really tell it's a foil. 3 visits hangs sort of in that mid-single digits with a lot of reprints. Lightning Greaves is about 5 and has quite a few reprints. Soul Ring hovers in the $2 range because it never stops getting reprinted, but it also never stops getting played. It does defy physics. Command Tower's around $1 and lives in basically every deck, so that puts raw singles around the mid to high teens, which no, it does not beat a $30 MSRP or $40 foil. But here's why it still works. You will actually play all 5 of these. Spider-Man Greaves is going to be everywhere. Spider-Man Soul Ring is a belt for some reason. You know, the classic spider belt. I don't know, but still, it's going to be on wish lists 6 years from now when we're building Secret War decks. For me, the verdict is easy on this one. 2 foil copies, 1 to use, 1 to play. Boss is the shadow mirror of Heroic Deeds. You still get Lightning Greaves, Soul Ring, Command Tower. Then they swap in Deadly Dispute and go for the throat for the value vibes and some removal. Prices for my notes are pretty straightforward and similar to Heroic Deeds. The Greaves is about 5, Soul Ring's about 2, Command Tower's about 1. Go for the throat's around $1.50 because it gets steady reprints, but it never leaves Black Deadly Dispute disputes around glue because it's a glue card that players are always going to run. So that puts you roughly around $11 to $12 in raw singles versus the same 30 or 40 MSRP. So again, the value case here is not the headline. The case is that these cards are ones you will keep sleeved for years, and now they match a villain theme for anybody who wants a villain deck. My verdict is buy the foil if you think you'll ever want a matching pair to Heroic Deeds or will build a villain flavored deck. Grab an extra copy of the foil if you have the means, like I would say with quite a few of these, honestly, because I think this one will gain good value over time. Typically, foil secret layers go up, especially with Universes Beyond. And now for an actual spicy one, we've got Venom Unleashed. 5 cards. They range from iconic to infamous. Damnation, Dark Ritual, Peer into the Abyss, Surgical Extraction, and Tendrils of Agony. Again, $30 non-foil, $40 foil. My value notes for Damnation around the high 20s, and that drives the entire one card that's nearly $30 right off the rip. Dark Ritual's cheap, but so staple-ish that I'm sure this one has a ton of future value potential. Peer is a splashy finisher that lives in the single low digits. Surgical Extraction sits in that same mid-single digits realm. Tendrils is a storm piece that holds a couple of bucks. So you add that up and you're near the foil MSRP already because of Damnation. So the art, obviously, the IP, carries this one over the top as the only pretty sure value play in the entire super drop. Also, the artists line has legends Mark Bagley on the Venom line work and Ramos on color, which is nice for long-term collectability in my opinion. I'm thinking 2 signatures on the color version would look pretty sweet. Both artists signing the same card, that'd look really tight. But with this one, my verdict is on the fence. You've got the color version and you've got the line work only version. I like both. I like this drop a lot, so I know I'm getting at least one, but I really am having a hard time stomaching buying the same cards twice. Whichever one I'm getting in foil, and I feel like the black and white is gonna pop so hard. Shiny, but the color is more legible overall on the table. I don't know. You help me choose. Let me know in the comments which one you're picking. Then we've got the Mana Symbiote lands. 10 basic lands and a raised foil finish with Venom Symbiote art, I think. That's not Phyrexia Basics. Nope, it's Venom. Interesting. 2 of each. Plains, Island, Swampy, Bumpy, Montana, and Forest. Price is $60, and there is no non-foil option. The art direction is clean, but it looks so similar to the Phyrexia ones to me. At first glance, I was confused at what I was looking at. I really wish these looked a little bit more different, if we're being totally honest. Looking closely, they look pretty cool with the Venom design. And I bet in hand, they really will pop. I can see myself at a convention holding one of these, somebody being like, yo, check this out, me looking at it and going, oh yeah, that's actually, okay. That looks really tough. The issue here is value. Basics have no singles EV, and we have had several premium basics cycles per set for several years. $60 is a tough ask for 10 basic lands, no matter how cool they look. That's what my boomer brain thinks an entire video game should cost. $60, $59.99. I just think that these are truly about collectability. If you're a Venom super fan or you want a splashy land suite for a Venom deck or a villainous commander deck, I get it. For everybody else, $60 buys actual staples or gets you most of the way to the 2 Spider-Man staples drops, one with the heroic stuff and one with the villain stuff. I'm gonna pass on these completely, but I do think that they have solid value game possibility over time, because I think that I'm not alone in I'm gonna skip the lands, and so that means that there will be less of it in the market for the people that want Venom lands. Don't forget that each of these drops will have a secret card, and lots of times with these licensed drops, it's desirable and frequently has chase cards on top of it, so time will tell what those look like as these layers start to ship. Tell me what you agree with or disagree with down in the comments, what you're gonna buy. I'd love to talk to you about these down there, and hop into our Discord for the best community on the internet and making sure you get secret layer drops if you want them. as a single Spider-Man collector booster pack is worth. If you do the math, that sets the MSRP for a box at $455.88. Yeesh, that sounds expensive until you open TCG Player and realize that sealed Spider-Man collector boxes are moving for $839.28. That those $38 packs are individually being sold for like $82. And I'm no mathematician, but that's basically double. That's wild, but not surprising given the current collector's market, especially with Magic the Gathering. And we've seen this exact same cycle before. FOMO, then sellouts, then price hikes, then first preview season, then second preview season, then thirdsies, then the next set starts previews, then the pre-release for the set I was talking about first happened, then secret layer previews for that set, then release weekend for that set, then opening, prices on singles crash, prices on boxes inexplicably keep rising, rinse and repeat. It's simple. The big question is, at what price is all of this worth it? Hey, what's up? I'm Joel. I've been playing Magic for over 20 years. Magic news and Magic card prices are my full-time job now, so subscribe to the channel here and I'll keep you ahead. If you're lucky enough to find a box of Spider-Man collectors at or near MSRP, yes, it's basically free money long-term, unless Magic as a whole collapses. Let me know in the comments if you think that it already has. But at $830 plus, the conversation shifts from, is this pickup to, is this lottery ticket really worth scratching? And that's where we need to take a very specific look at what's inside the packs, how rare the true chase cards really are, and how past collector boxes and specific treatments from those boxes have aged. Spoiler alert, unless your dad is John Spider-Man and you're ripping a box for nostalgia, this is gambling at this point. But let's unpack exactly what's in here before you decide to take that gamble. Magic is brought to you by Card Conduit, the best place to sell your cards quickly and easily on the internet. TCG Player, the best place to buy them. Dragon Shield, the best way to protect them. And Moxfield, the only place to put deck lists on the internet. Every good collector box needs a headliner chase, and for Richard Garfield's Magic the Gathering, Spider-Man the Magic the Gathering set, it's the Soul Stone. There are 3 versions, and pretty much anyone is only ever going to see a copy of one of the 3. The main set Vulcan Baga art appears in play and collector boosters, so it won't truly drive sealed value, but the Gauntlet version with Thanos flexing for maximum aura farm shows up only in collector boosters as a foil, so that's the first level of scarcity. This is a less than 1% card according to the collecting article, so this will compare to things like fractured foils and foundations, but it's just this card. There's no like hierarchy of desirability of different foilings, different treatments. It's this treatment in that foil for this card. Then on top of that, there's the textless cosmic foil version, only in collector boosters, always in English, and listed in Wizards pack map as extremely low quantities. Imagine saying that in your article. You have the Thanos card where it's a less than 1% drop rate. Good luck, everybody. Then saying that this one is only available in extremely low quantities underneath that. I get it. I'm never gonna own one of these. It doesn't matter what I do. Manifest, put it on my vision board, even try and rob somebody. It's not gonna work. I'm never gonna own one. I get it. Thank you. I just want one. Please give it to me. I really want it. I want it real bad. All of the Infinity Stones. One each of these Cosmic Foil Infinity Stones, please. The Cosmic Foil Soul Stone is the real golden chocobo or one ring analog here, but the problem is it's not serialized. Collectors can't point at it and say, there are exactly 300 of these. You should see the tracking and the tracker websites and spreadsheets that they've got for the golden chocobo race. It's kind of fun. It's a fun part of the whole I'll never ever own a serialized card that cool. But still, a flashy, textless, cosmic Infinity Stone will keep packs moving, especially since Rosewater has promised they're gonna do all of the Infinity Stones. That will be a collection that people will want to put together over time and will push FOMO, especially out of the gate with this one. I just want you to know that your odds are under 1%, less than 1%, less than under 1% to see one of these. This is the ultimate lottery. This is why all of these are so expensive. This, the Thanos thing, and the sensational Spider-Man suits. However, the Soul Stone is not alone. Collector boosters of Spider-Man have their exclusive candy that is going to build perceived EV. The three borderless classic comic mythics. You've got Miles, Peter, and Eddie Brock, aka Venom. These are collector booster only, traditional foil only, and English only. I draw a parallel with these to the Final Fantasy alternate commanders that were only available in collector booster packs, and we know those drove serious collector demand. I want to ask you, let me know in the comments which version you think fans are going to chase harder, the comic book Miles, the Peter, or the Venom. Either way, you're gonna see a hierarchy form, and then on top of that, you've got the spectacular Spider-Man costume change card. 7 textured foil variants exclusive to collector boosters, plus one base version that'll be more available in every pack. Textured foils in hand tend to look fantastic, and that's what the foiling is on these, and players love flexing a unique version of the card. I gotta be honest, of all the tacked on, more gimmicky stuff, this one to me feels the most tacked on and gimmicky. As a Marvel fanboy, I'm liking more of this set than most people, but these just don't get me super excited. I would expect the most expensive suit to emerge from these, probably Black Symbiote costume or Bagman's variant. These, though, are another less than 1% full card that collectors are gonna overpay for. You've got the Thanos variant of the Soul Stone, the 3 heroes, and these textured suit variants of Spectacular for your primary pulls for value that are even semi-realistic for the average person. So while the main set cards will be reprinted many times over the coming years, collector booster only treatments like these will be the reason whales keep cracking boxes. But do not fool yourself. 99% of packs will not contain these cards. That's how the math works. They are rare enough, I guess, to justify prices that people are paying for them, 850 plus, as I make this video. But in reality, collector packs of Magic, especially recently, have become a casino game where the house typically wins. Now here's where people get tricked during preview seasons. Not every flash card in this set is a reason to buy collector boosters of Spider-Man. We've only talked about a few, though it seems like we've talked about a lot. There's still way more in this set. A lot of treatments, scene cards, source material reprints, panel cards, even the Spiderweb frame and Spiderweb basics. Those show up in play boosters too. That means in like 6 weeks, you're gonna see them absolutely flooding TCG Player for a fraction of their pre-order price. The market cycle is pretty predictable at this point. Cards pop in season, fall off majorly once supply hits, and only the tippy toppest treatments only really ever bounce back majorly long term. Go watch any video on my channel about great pickups from a set crash. The same pattern happens all the time. Spider-Man's web slinger frames and the panel treatments are going to follow that same pattern. They're fun for flavor, but they're not real EV drivers. That's actually good news for us as singles buyers. Go look at Final Fantasy cards right now. Even the foils of borderless versions of the commanders, like Cloud X Soldier, spiked like crazy to over 200, but then fell off hard to 116 and have slowly grown back to like 125 over time. That's specifically the foil version of those alternates that were only available in collector boosters. You had non-foil, foil, and Surge being the parfait there on that specific treatment with those alternate commanders from Final Fantasy that you could only get the alternates in collector packs. So this was that middle tier. Over 200 bucks, it's 125 now, and it was lower to be able to acquire it a few weeks ago. And look, even if you bought that single card at its absolute peak, you still paid less than a quarter of what a collector box costs. You would pay more than that randomly firing at packs. Just go get the single that you want to get. I promise. Your brain, your wallet, and your heart will all thank you over time. My point is, overall, for singles purchasers, you don't need an $850 box. You don't need an $82 pack to get cool Spider-Man art for your decks. You're going to be able to snag most versions from this set cheaply once the dust settles from all this, even some of the top treatments. So don't let the previews and the hype trick you into thinking every treatment is gold. Only the collector booster only sub 1% chase cards really matter for box value, and the rest is just bonus flavor on top of everything. If you've watched the prices of collector boxes long enough, like me, you know the cycle. Hype, pre-order FOMO, a few big hits, and then reality. Final Fantasy doubled post-release thanks to serialized chocobos, the broad appeal, and a set that was obviously and truly a banger. I wouldn't expect Final Fantasy level growth unless this chase is harder than expected and more people than not are willing to ignore how weird this set really is. So Spider-Man collector packs and boxes, are they worth it? Here is my split verdict. If you're opening them at MSRP, first off, you were born with a lucky spoon up your rear, and good on you for being able to find that, or good on your LGS for sticking to MSRP. God bless them. It's a safer gamble at MSRP, a little bit safer. You still could and will whiff on the big less than 1% chase cards, but the sealed price floor is likely to rise over time on these boxes, and that will keep the singles that you do open decently value over time and bully for you if you hit a lottery card. But at $850 or more, it's a pretty brutal Powerball. You're either gonna rip the Soulstone Cosmic Foil, a top James, like a Thanos card, or you're eating a hard haircut. Most boxes are not going to recoup at that price, so you really want to know why you're opening the packs. Is it for the experience and you're happy with the price you got? Rock and roll. Are you expecting to recoup your price? Please, I hope that the main takeaway from this video that you get is you likely will not, especially at some of the higher prices I'm seeing some of these cards for, and even at MSRP. It's an expensive product, and mostly the trend is that singles fall to good pickup ranges well after the fact when the hype is gone. So if you can resist that early FOMO, you're going to be in a better position. Sealed holding these, though, is a different game as far as I'm concerned. Universes Beyond Sealed has been one of the best long-term investments in Magic for the past 2 years, and I'm not one that would typically recommend investing in Magic. There's so many investment vehicles provided to you as a human being that are not Magic the Gathering that are better for you to engage in first. However, Fallout collector boxes, Lord of the Rings, all collector boxes, Doctor Who, mess sets like Assassin's Creed, all of these are climbing, and so yes, I believe that Spider-Man Sealed will probably be worth more than it is right now in a year. That is the trend right now with pretty much all collector boxes, much less Universes Beyond stuff, is that number go up. The problem, as far as I'm concerned, is the liquidity of it. The expensive stuff just doesn't fly off shelves. So holding is going to be a waiting game, definitely not just a quick flip, and exiting that kind of thing is difficult. But look, if your name is Ricky T. Spider-Man and you have a tattoo of all the actors to ever play Spider-Man and one that played Gwen Stacy, but I won't tell you who and where it is, then I would say rip it, enjoy the ride, have a good time. If you're a sealed speculator, chase MSRP as close as you possibly can and then sit on it for a long time and hope that there's going to be a rich benefactor 20 years from now that will buy your entire collection all at once, and you won't have to figure out how to sell $30,000 worth of individual cards like a patron of mine is trying to do right now, or trying to sell tens of thousands of sealed product one box at a time. Good luck! But I will again reiterate, even Assassin's Creed, Universes Beyond collector boxes go up. That just seems to be the trend right now. It's crazy. And if you're just like me and you want cool cards, skip all of this, wait a month or more, buy singles. You might miss on the tippy top treatments, but playable base versions are going to be crushed in price from where they are now, and your wallet will thank you. And who knows, maybe even some of that tippy top treatments you want will find a nice pickup window in the short term, and I can help you with that. Hey, subscribe with notifications on, and I'll keep you updated when Spider-Man singles hit their buy window. Look for the green border or the purple border thumbnails on my channel. Those are great pickups in general and set crashes. That's what to be on the lookout for. And until then, good luck. May Thanos keep your pulls balanced like all things should be. Fantastic cards to pick up that are at great all-time low ranges, but this time we're going to put our money where our mouth is. I'm joined in this episode by Beasley and Mia Nerds. Say hello.
Hi.
Hey.
We are going to spend some cash on Magic the Gathering. 5, 10, 20, 50, and $100 levels. All three of us have picks. We don't know each other's picks, so you're going to get our live reactions. Y'all, are you ready to jump into this?
So ready.
Joel, our magic is brought to you by Card Conduit, the best place to sell your cards quickly and easily online. TCG, the best place to buy them. Dragon Shield, the best way to protect them. And Moxfield, the only place to put your deck lists on the internet. So all three of us have secretly made our picks. Nia, why don't you start us off? Let's just go in order. 5, 10, 20, 50, 100.
Oh, I'm so excited. It's a little fun deck, and BB said also, our picks might be the same, and this is one of the I just spent $5 on Blossom Board, and got $5.16. At right now, we are using a deck. It's going to, when it enters your attack, you're going to mill 3 and take a land from the graveyard on the back. Activate ability creature and land creature will also get +1/+1. Those parts don't matter. Which fills the graveyard and gets you win. This card, and we're still using all of them.
And every single one of them is in use right now because I bought 2 extras recently, and I put them in like Ishkana, and I put them in like Hero deck or something. And then you're like, "Where's the Blossom Board?"
So I genuinely need this card. This isn't a, well, in a perfect world I could get, it's like, no, we already bought this. I need a set.
I love it. That's exactly what I like to do with these videos. You're like, this is actually what I would buy. Sure, these 10 cards are in great pickup ranges or whatever, or don't buy these 10, but these are where I would actually spend money right now. I like crossover. This one has an all-time high of like 20 bucks. So right now at around $5, not until spiked up just a wee bit recently because of the world seed precon, the hurtful general brain sacrifice thing. And so it has picked up just a little bit from around the $2 mark. I really like this pickup around 5.
Yeah, it's good even outside of like graveyard decks too, or in like landfall too. It's like you can give it haste. It's kind of silly.
Oh,
Yeah, and just, I think this is a card that could, even if you put it at the $8 or $10 range, that's $10 card, you know? So at 5, you need to pick up a bunch.
BC, what about you? $5. What would you grab? Is it the tortoise?
It's not the shortest. It's kind of like on the same. So this is also another card we need 85 of.
Oh,
This
God.
is not one, but 2 Layer of Malices because they're about $2.70 each. This card is silly. It's obscene. I feel like I'm cheating whenever I play it. And I think right now I have it in 5 decks. I have it in CDH Carador, I have it in Pilas, Core, Ishkana, it's definitely in there, Codis, and my high power Oscar deck. It's just, with everything, it's not even a bad card if you have to spend coin on it, which you never do.
Yeah, I think the thing with Flare of Malice is it really got overlooked by all the other stuff. Whoa, free counter spell, whoa, free, cultivate.
Indestructible for everything, right?
Yeah, and those aren't even the good ones. I mean, Flare of Denial is pretty chill, but I'm not playing Flare of Cultivation anywhere. I'm not playing Flare of Fortitude anywhere. I'm playing Flare of Malice everywhere. It's like less than $3. It's so amazing, and blackjack's really stack things to begin with, so the cost is actually
You're not playing this card, so if you have $5 and you find $5 in the ground, go buy 2 of them, put them in a blackjack with creatures, and then you're gonna pop.
I've been running this like crazy because it can be a free spell for a deck that wants you to cast it instead of 3 CMC or higher. Speaking of 3 CMC or higher, BZ, you're absolutely right. It's not that far off rate, right? Soul Shatters is the sort of on-rate version of this 3 mana to do this effect, but having it possibly be a free spell, excellent pickup at home.
Center's already very good. I can change 3 mana off of it.
Yeah, I also think that with all these spells, everyone's like, free spells make your deck so much like more high powered. But there's so many spells that they're in a budget price range.
My resources I will mend this broken world. One step in the stratagem.
Card I need for a deck. I built the Eshki Teamer Dragons, or Dragonstorm. I'm waiting on copies of the Showcase Dragon
Fate
stuff from
flows
that
as
set to
easily
drop down
as
so that I
water.
can acquire a couple of pieces. Stormscale Scion in the Showcase frame, that Justine Jones
Open
Showcase
your
frame,
mind
the Stormscale Scion,
to
this one's got
possibility.
art by Massive Face. It's just such an excellent piece, obviously in Dragons, because it's going to storm off 300 copies from everyone that drops on there. In addition, you're probably giving everything haste, and it's dealing damage with Tempest when it comes out anyway. And so this is how you just pop off on this Dragon deck. I want one in that Showcase frame that's going to thematically with the deck, because I'm big on customizing my look of my deck and which basics did I use, etc. So I grab a copy of this in my Dragon deck before we get too far removed from this. I mean, a foil of this is only around 10. Get a foil.
Oh yeah, I feel like this was maybe harder to get than the set first.
Had so many cool things. It's a hot time to do it when everyone's just like, "Oh, I'm focused on the new stuff." When's Spider-Man coming out? And then 6 months ago, like, "Oh wait, that was awesome! I could go grab it now." And you're like, I picked up 5
It's not what, it's slivers and allies and
Yeah,
Right.
that sounds about right.
That's where the focus is now for sure. And you're absolutely right. Actually, 3 weeks ago, if you want to go check it out, viewer, I dropped a video, Purple Border. That's the Set Crash edition of great pickups. I covered Parkir Dragonstorm. Told you a bunch of cards in that one that are great pickup ranges right now, because you're absolutely right. Once the hype moves on, once the attention moves on to whatever the next thing is, honestly, I'm having to tell people not to buy the bad ally cards right now. I should be telling people to buy the dragons.
Dragons are always going to be, evergreen. Everyone's going to love them. So I think they're going to spike at some point.
well, if some Cascade thing comes out too, Skion's really good with that. Casting things for free. There's always something that does that.
Easy, let's move up into our $10 level, and why don't you start us off for this one? What are you spending $10 on?
This one is a satisfying card. And I think it can go in most red decks in the game. It's Karlach, Fury of Avernus. I wanted to go outside my abs and wheelhouse. At least one pick. Impressed us from the time we started playing it. Maybe we were a little late on it. Maybe everybody else was a little late too. It just sort of, Baldur's Gate, everyone was disappointed that it was a low value set or
Yeah.
whatever, and then some of the cards creeped up afterwards. This one is extra combat and first strike during that. I haven't had this in anything other than like an absolute beating whenever I play it or whenever it's played it.
It's really good. Every single time I'm like, oh, that's only 5 mana. That's just a game ender on a stick. And I think it's down right now because I'm surprised to hear it at $10. I remember when it was like 20 at the height of Baldur's Gate coming out, or when the second layer came out. I think it might have been like kind of up there too because everyone was just so
Yeah, maybe the secret layer like tanked it a little. I don't know.
Yeah, right around Murders at Karlov Manor, beginning of 2024. This was a $20 card, so you're not late on this one by any means. It has fallen. It has actually retraced a little bit further back up. It was only $9 at one point. But yeah, I will say for the early part of this card's life cycle, it was fairly unknown. For the first year it was out, it was a $1 or $2 card based on the disappointment of that set. You're right, Izzy. But as far as an example of a sleeper set or a grows over time set, just like Murders at Karlov Manor, I think that this set over time is going to show just how many impressive cards it added to the commander pool, just like Karlov Fury of Avernus.
Hey, Baldur's Gate rocks. That set is one of my favorite sets in terms of like you open up booster packs, you're getting like 10 playable cards for commander decks out of the
Easily.
Yeah, honestly, one of my biggest regrets from not buying product is not buying Commander Baldur's Gate product while it was out, or at least least not as much as I should have, because they were $75 for a box at one point. They were fun to draft. They were, and they had a bunch of cards that we actually play now, whether that be common or rares and that sort of thing. And they just had so much inspiration built into it.
Oh, my play group used to get together every week, and we would buy batches of 10 booster boxes at a time to hold us over for the next month and a half of draft.
7.5 was nothing for those.
Hell
For
yeah.
a good draft experience between 8 people, that was just less than $10 a person. You can't get that.
Honestly, the only problem with the set was that they put Commander Legends at the front of the title of the set, and at the time, those two words carried a lot of weight. They don't really anymore, but at the time, people were excited for Commander Legends 2, and the set was definitely not that. But you're right, there's a ton of great little treasures in there that are in great pickup ranges. $10 level, Mia, what have you got for us?
I have another red card. It's one of my favorites. It's Tybalt's Trickery. It is a red counterspell, and it is $9.05 from the time that I looked at this. I want it because, one, we are out, and I play it in a lot of places, but two, I haven't figured out which version of Shadow the Hedgehog I want to build. I've brewed up a bracket 4 one, I have a bracket 2 one. As you can see, there's a lot of shadows behind us. So whichever one I pick has to be pretty good. And I think Tybalt's Trickery is awesome in this because with Split Second, you're going to mill the 3, but you can't put the other one on the stack, so it just says target spell, its controller mills 1, 2, or 3 cards. And in red, that's a color of Hybrid.
That's actually sick. But I think that card has proven itself just as a counter spell.
Yes.
All spells are equal, so you're not countering Cultivate and hitting, I don't know, Bigger Colossus or something like that.
Right.
No, but this has been so solid in the higher power games too. I mean, I'm playing it in CEDH. I'm playing it in my bracket 3s and stuff because I think that when I love Mardu, but in that wedge, it's very hard. We're not playing Red Alley in most of our decks that can run it. We're not playing Manatite in most of our decks. But Tybalt's Trickery is so good. Every single time, you want to save it till mid to late game, but if something is really threatening you, you really don't want that board wipe. You really don't want that Crater Hoof coming down. I think that it's very good to just have this little piece of interaction in your back pocket.
I think similarly to how people are very high on Chaos Warp to get them out of their color restrictions, Tybalt's Trickery can save you from things like a Crater Hoof Behemoth. Red has no way to stop that or deal with that at all. But if you can stop it on the stack with Tybalt's Trickery and not have the card be disastrously terrible for you to resolve, I'm in.
Yeah, I think it's been very good for both of us. Plus, also countering people's big mana commanders. How many times have I countered your Belladros before when you're ramping into it? It's turn 5. You're like, wow, Belladros, and I counter it, and then you're just like, all right, see you guys in 2 turns. Oh, my mana went.
Get a signet. Okay, thanks. Moving on. Yeah, I will also call out the base copy of this one from Kaldheim, around $9. There's a secret layer one that just came out recently in that Spanish. I'm not sure exactly what the secret layer was called, but it was the one that had the Godzilla treatments with the Spanish influence, cultural influences on there. Ya viene el coco. That one's only 12 or 13 if for some reason you like that art better, or the Spanish heritage piece speaks to you a little bit. That's also an option. It's right around that same price point.
I like the fact that it is that much, but I am such a sucker for the original one because everyone told me it was a bad card for the longest time. It was $1 or $2, and now it's up to 8 and 12, and so everyone is feeling that I was right.
I wonder
That's
if
right.
you personally had a little bit of a say in that.
Maybe, but I've also utilized it in gameplay.
Well, you're right. I'm just saying.
I hope so. I hope so. It's a solid card. It's
I'm
been
glad
really
you
good.
can admit it, Beasley. I'm glad you can.
It's hard.
For my $10 level, I'm looking at the current set, and that's not something that I ever really do. I like to wait 5-6 weeks to start picking up singles from any set that releases, but Edge of Eternities is pushing down a little cycle of cards called Shocklands. These prices are getting down into excellent pickup ranges, and I can't wait for every commander deck I own to have every Shockland that it could possibly run, because that's never been the case for me, but we are very close to that being able to be the case for me. Right now, Watery Grave is $8. All 5 that Edge of Eternities brought us are in free fall currently. I think that they could go even lower. I got criticized pretty heavily for saying, y'all, you need to wait until these are under 10 to pick them up, and I'm targeting 5s. People were like, you're insane. 15. These will never go under 10. How could they possibly get down to 5? And here we are with Watery Grave, the most expensive of the 5 at 8. Nitpicking nerds, I'm going to apologize to y'all. I'm taking a victory lap right here in front of y'all in this video, using this moment of my speaking to totally dunk on everybody who thought I was an idiot for saying these were going to be between 5 and 10, because that's what I'm doing right now. Hello, everybody. How are you doing? These have more room to go down, and they will. I'm going to be buying Watery Graves at like $5 and $6 in the next few weeks, and it's going to be awesome. But at $10 right now, pick a shock from Edge. That's what I would do.
Yeah, two things about that. First, suck it, haters. No,
Got
number
'em.
two, number two, Shocklands I think are not sacred anymore. They used to be, once every 5 years. Oh my God, they're
Yes.
$20 every time. They would just never move price wise. But the last
Right.
couple, like, and now I think standard set 2025, they're gonna go down.
Shocklands are not sacred as they were printed in Unfinity to get them to buy the boxes, and ever since then I've considered them not sacred. But before that, I was like, wow, Shocklands, I don't ever know if I'll be able to afford 1 or 2 of those. I mean, I don't play Commander that seriously. But now that they're 8 or 10, and like some of the Battle Bond lands are probably at like on par with them, if not higher in some
Yes.
cases, I think that is a great time to pick it up, and I do agree with some of the haters.
Is
Got
this
'em.
also maybe the opportunity to sell extra copies of the other 5 that you don't need, because they're going down too, right?
They
I
absolutely
don't know what
will.
set they're going to be in, but
Yeah, they absolutely will. I would assume we're going to see them in Lorwyn Eclipsed. I think that the move for Nazi going forward is that they're going to put the higher value reprint, the higher desirability reprint stuff in the in-universe stuff so that we'll buy it, because they know we're going to go nuts over Avatar and Final Fantasy, etc. So we're going to buy those cards anyway. They're like, we'll put the shocks and the fetches and the stuff that is in-universe so that we can get them to buy that stuff. So I would assume we're going to see it in Lorwyn at the beginning of the year.
Also, how much are the full art Shocklands from Edge of Eternities? The art is gorgeous no matter which one you pick,
yeah, like the
But-
base window.
but I'm such a sucker for Shocklands, you know what I mean?
I think the Watery Grave art in this set is maybe my favorite non-full art Shockland art. It's so good.
It's actually a really good pickup too. All of those look dope. You're talking about the like through the, it's not through the looking glass, but through the peephole, whatever those.
Yeah.
that treatment was.
Yeah,
I think it's through the peephole. They called it through the peephole treatment, Joe. Around $12 for a Watery Grave in that treatment right now. So
Not
it's
bad
still in that
either.
same range. No, it's not at all.
I think the art is so good for the space ones though that I might even just prefer the non-peephole.
That's
Yeah.
fair, that's fair. I think that no matter which one you pick, if you're trying to save a little money, you're trying to clean out your deck, I think this is like the
I'm glad we're going to call them peephole lands from now on. That's fun. For $20 right now, I want to go and grab a special treatment from a bonus sheet called Enchanting Tales. Wilds of Eldraine brought us some premium reprints of enchantments that are insanely strong for Commander and some very beautiful treatments. I love the storybook looking treatment version of Defense of the Heart. Right now, this card is around $15 to $20, but a special version, this is 0051 if you want to look up the specific one. This is number 51 on the Enchanting Tales sheet, and it's Defense of the Heart. It's such a great tutor. I can't tell you. It's like on clockwork. Every 3 months, there's a new Reddit post from a new player going, so what's the downside of Defense of the Heart? Can someone explain this card to me? And it's like, oh no, you just have to wait for them to have 3 creatures, and it's go get any 2 you want straight onto the battlefield. This version looks really dope, and I want to grab a copy, probably a few, before this set is far enough out of mind that all of these special treatments of these enchantments that are so cool rise in price, because this one has been rising. This was as low as $5. It was around 8 for a while, and now it's up around that 15. So you can tell that some of the higher playability ones are going up in price.
Yeah, I was very surprised to hear that it was around the $20 mark, because when I looked at it last, it was like $8. This card has a special place in my heart because it has won me many a Mystery Booster 1 draft. It's
Oh,
a
yeah.
very good card.
Well, yeah, then that in 1v1, it's like, good luck. Here's my enchantment. Can you beat it? And you just play it in the big game. But I think I like this card because you play it early. There's still gonna probably be season play, so it's not a card you have to like wait super long for.
No.
And it goes off. You don't win. It's probably because this isn't like a bracket 4 card. It's like a
Sure.
bracket 2, 3, where it's like, I'm gonna get 20 mana worth of things, and you're
Right.
gonna be in some serious trouble. So it's like army in a can.
Go get an insanely synergistic 2-creature combo going, you know. Maybe it's a win the game combo, like you said, but more often you're just going to go get 2 of your best value, 2 of your best utility, or, you know, you just go slam Craterhoof Behemoth, try and win the game right there, right?
Why not?
I mean, there's so many options, especially in green, you know? So I think it's a really good value for that.
I like it in Enchantress too, where you just cantrip it right away, and then
Oh,
you don't have
yeah.
to worry about, oh, did I get my card back on? It's like, you're fine.
Mia, hit us with your $20 pick. What have you got in the middle here?
I have Legolas's Quick Reflexes.
Ooh.
I haven't really gotten to play with that suite of cards from Lord of the Rings. I got to play with the original ones, but like the Galadriel's Dismissals, the Legolas's Quick Reflexes, all of those in the holiday bundle, I didn't really get a chance to play with. I really want to put it in my Selvala deck, my high-powered one, because it untaps, it gives it Hexproof, it has 10 billion tap words on it, it's only a green mana, it's got instant speed, it has split second.
A split second. It's so huge.
Solid. And I think that it's going to be really awesome there. I haven't thought about it because every 6 weeks a new set comes out and I keep forgetting.
I forgot about the holiday bundles, and I was like, quick reflexes. Oh yeah.
You know what's a good play with this one right now is that World Seed deck. Any really green deck that is that station-y spaceship thing that happened with Edge of Eternities, those creatures are becoming tapped. I mean, obviously, looking like that. Sort of any deck that's running convert style strategies, they're also going to get payoffs from that creature tapping. If you know you've got your Legolas's Quick Reflexes and you want to do some stuff all at once, you get some damage across too.
Yeah, it does everything. I don't know. When I read that card, it's a little confusing because I'm like, this is the least like top-down made card I've ever seen. They just slapped Legolas on there. At the end, I'm like, oh, what is this?
I also feel like we don't have pretty high, and I'm
Yeah, this one is going to climb, and you're absolutely right. The reprintability clock on this one is very, very hard to see get to midnight because it says Legolas in the title of this card, and so this isn't even one probably that they can do a Godzilla reskin of, where they have Legolas's reflexes in small text under a different. Assuming you would still have to pay the IP rights to just put that word on a card and sell it. So they're going to, if they're going to reprint this and they can't get the IP back, I don't know how those contracts work, obviously, but they would have to do it in the same way that they've done those universes with the sign in the collector information in the bottom left. And it says equals, you know, LTC 0493 instead of having or much more difficult than a regular card to reprint.
Yeah, I think it's just so solid too. And then, as I mentioned earlier, I also want to try Galadriel. It's not a part of it, but I definitely regret not trying it.
Yeah, that card. It's hot. We love.
Yeah, I don't know if that's
Yeah, Galadriel's Dismissal getting up to $20. It's at about 18 right now. But, you know, you kick it, doing a ton of stuff, the phase out, just absolutely crazy.
Many players love.
I just love it because unlike the other concealment, you can also phase out their stuff. So it's like, I have 300 scoop worth of this. You know, like after
Easy. $20 range. We're in the middle of the pack. What have you got?
Every single Commander player should own one of these cards. Maybe exactly, because every single player at some point they're like, in your deck. Retreat City is $20 right now. It's perfect. It just almost doesn't even matter. Maybe except dragons or something. Five-color dragons, maybe it's one this or like want this. But everything else, we'll just, you know what? Everything else in the world wants the Retreat City. We've been keeping our eyes on it for a while. It's probably reasonable price to get it.
For sure.
And I'm someone who, every once in a while, every 10 decks I build,
Also, so many characters are just like little idiots dot deck, and that means you're just gonna get a ton of mana.
yeah, I just got one from my Ishkana Spiders deck. It's great. Ishkana by itself makes 4 spiders. I'm hoping, I think we're in the budget here, I'm hoping that doesn't get destroyed with Spider-Man.
I just like Lord of the Rings.
Just let me rest, okay? Let me rest.
I bet it will. I bet it will pop off. You're right, though. Three Tree City, for the same reason as Legolas. This one isn't IP, you know, it's Magic Inner IP, but legendary land, named location. You're looking at secret layers for reprints of this, and with it already being at the $20 range, it has been bouncing. This feels like a land that loves being $20. It tried to raise up into the $25 range, came back down, but the universal playability of it, you're 100% on. The most expensive version is the winter copy. They had one for each special versions. That's only $40. And so you can go even further with Three Tree City, one of the 4 different season treatments that they released, and customize your kindred to, you know, an even higher degree and make it all aesthetically match even more beautiful if you want to go up to that $40 range.
The main parallel I draw here that I was super cognizant of when it was rotating on standard and when it was hard to pick up for commander was Nykthos. That card was always an iconic card.
Yes.
It would have always